All right. Hello and welcome. Yes, I'm in a green shirt. I'm going to change before we get started, but we are 5 minutes out from starting week 1 of Champions of the Rift. For those of you who don't know what that is, this is going to be a weekly kind of Nexus Night style of tournament where no matter how many people sign up, you're going to play 3 rounds. And then depending on how you do on those rounds, you are going to be able to gain points. We have a leaderboard. Yay, that's awesome. With that, though, we're going to be able to have you accumulate those points week after week, and then at the end of 10 weeks, the top 16 will be able to qualify for an end-of-season tournament. It's pretty exciting. And then with that, the first and second place of that tournament will get a customized playmat designed by yours truly, where you get to pick a legend of your choice, and then we, of course, will print and send that out to you. This is a free tournament for you to be able to join, and to be able to join it, you join the Discord down below, you grab the Champions of the Rift role, and then you're able to sign up on the sign-up page, which is on Challenge as well, so you can find that link in the Discord. So we still have a couple of minutes to sign up if you still want to be a part of that. So if you do, great, we would love to have you. You also can quit at any time, so you don't have to feel obligated to play week to week. You don't even have to feel obligated to play all 3 rounds. If you just need a drop, let me know, and you're more than able to do so. But we look forward to having you guys on. I'm going to go switch a shirt so I'm not partially invisible on a green screen. I don't know, there's something about that. But we will get back to you here momentarily as we start week 1 of Champions of the Rift. Good to see you, Siri. I saw you in. That is so awesome. Good to have you back. Stairs, man. Whew. Okay. Almost there. Hello and welcome. Here we go into the Champions of the Rift Week 1, guys. We are back. Welcome and good to have you here. I'm checking some stuff to see what we are doing. We have the tournament that is officially getting started, and with that we have, I mean, gosh, how many do we have? 19 competitors that have been able to make it to this. So just so you know, we are going to be playing 3 rounds tonight, and it'll be good to have you all. The competitors are starting to get into their lobbies now, and we'll be sure to bring you guys the live broadcast of that being casted by yours truly as we dive into Vendetta, which is a pretty exciting time. I love being able to have a brand new set that we're able to practice online with a little bit of pressure, don't get me wrong, but still being able to get things going. So we are going to see how that is going. We are going to be running things from the sidelines, so if you do see me going in and out a little bit, definitely understandable, but the competitors are getting into it. And we got some big competitors also that are here. I gotta say, been pretty fun to be able to see. So with that, we got in our bracket right here of round 1 some big names that we've been able to see in the past. First off, we have Gameslayer making his way back in here. We also have J-Chan, a guy that is, but J-Chan, who is infamous in this, being able to run and do an absolutely great job in the Runes and Rift tournament. We also have Siri that was able to take this Champions of the Rift last time. So a lot of really fun stuff. And then we got some good new competitors who are here as well. So some things to be looking forward to with that. And we'll see how that is going to be. So what are we going to have here? How is this going to end up being? Well, we're going to find out here momentarily. It's going to be a good time for sure. So with that being said, guys, we are going to be looking for a lobby, and then we are going to get things going. So I think for the first match here in particular, we are going to be finding ourselves looking at the Duck Murderer versus versus a Chew. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good time, and they are going to be playing on Rift Atlas. So something pretty fun to be able to see as we get that going. So stay tuned for that. We are going to get on over and see what's in store. All right, and with that being said, while we're getting some things fixed up here, we are going to be seeing Master Yi going against none other than Draven. So a pretty old match that we've seen a lot of here, and Master Yi has been one that almost has a little bit still to prove here. I think that's going to be something that we're going to have to continually watch out for on what we're able to see here, because I think this is going to be a bit of a challenge. Now, we have a legend, that a guy that was able to just absolutely terrorize us back in set number 2 is now back, and this time meaning business. So we'll see what Draven is gonna be able to bring here, as a Chu is trying to make a little bit of a name for himself in this. But I mean, we're already having a good start here where Draven was able to get in and get some defense set up, and then also getting a Ferris Forerunner that is going to be out. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. It's going to be an exciting thing to see who all is going to be able to take this on, but it is going to be something that we need to be keeping in mind, because if Master Yi is going to be unable to win these showdowns, be able to win these combats, then Draven will have a really good chance at being able to take this match. So that's going to be one of the hardest things, is that card draw that you are able to get so early on can be so difficult to try to match up against. And wow, at that point, looks like that Draven is going wide and going to be kind of tossing to the wind what Draven, what Master Yi might be able to do here. This is going to be something that might be a little bit difficult too, because it's like now you're giving that Master Yi the ability to be able to set up his board state. But it looks like that in this case, we are going to be having the Ruin Runner be able to come in. Now, this is going to be good too, because that means that it cannot be chosen by spells and abilities. So switcheroo or things like that are going to be very difficult to try to target for the Ruin Runner, and you're just going to have to be able to get over it by that brute force there, which can be pretty difficult to be able to do. Now, we'll see what each of these competitors are going to be able to do. It is going to be something that is going to be tried and tested. Again, normally that when you're in this tournament, when you're in it for a little bit, you're able to get things going with that. And what I mean by that is that you're able to see who's kind of the big wigs here, who's able to get the jobs done. And in this case, though, right now, no one has the street cred, if you will, on any of that. So it's going to be fun to see what then that is going to mean for each of these competitors. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still definitely some that are known in this community already by name alone. So we'll see what that is going to have entail here, and if there are going to be specific things set up, especially as now we are going in to not only just being able to build up a board state, get some much needed points on the Draven side, but also being able to continue to build that backfield. And gosh, it just looks like that this is going to be just a very difficult thing to try to work around. And even if you do take out the runner, it's going to be able to create those 2-3 might units, and that field in the back is just going to be ever more difficult to be able to take down. And I love what Achu is doing here to build up the Draven's points as well. Being at 4 now, Draven is going to be at 7, and that's going to be paying dividends as you go further into these rounds, because trying to get over that Master Yi might can be so difficult on trying to do. Now, likewise, we have Overzealous Fan that you may be able to kill me to move an attacking unit to its base. So trying to be able to play around that might be a little bit difficult, and we'll see if that's going to be something that can be resolved here. But still a lot of game left as we are in round 1, week 1 of this match, and we'll see what is going to be in store here. Also, just want to say welcome everyone. If you don't know about this, this is a weekly tournament that we generally have going on. A lot of fun, and if you do want to sign up for these, you are more than welcome to do so, and feel free to do so by joining the Discord down below. Pretty easy to be able to do so. It's a free tournament for you, and you are able to join or leave at any time. So as you see fit, always welcome to have you here. And you also don't have to play every week either. It's just as needed basis or as available basis. But with that being said, this is going to be a very difficult thing to try to set up. Not only that, but Master Yi does also have a lot of cards in hand with a lot of runes still up to be able to... Oh, it looks like I actually got things mixed up a little bit. My apologies. But it looks like that the Duck Murderer is actually down below playing Draven. And then up top is Master Yi by a Chew. So a little bit of a switcheroo right there, maybe prematurely, but all the same, good to know. And yeah, there we go. So now everything should be set up accurately for you guys here. And good to see what is happening. Now, with that being said, Draven again just building up and sending everything in at this point. Meanwhile, the first mate is going to be at 5 might, giving the chance to be able to have a couple of responses. Now, I am still rather worried about having a switcheroo that could be coming out after all the pump-ups here, and we have the discipline that is going to be getting played. I do apologize. I am going to be animating the cards or the spells and stuff that are going to be in here for next week, so keep that in mind. But yeah, with that being said, now we have 7 might that is going to be here, but still there is a lot more that needs to be met, and it might very well be that he's just trying to have a trade with like the Draven, for example, so that next turn he's going to be able to attack in. But the tricky part about this is that you're going to be able to, again, be able to build up this force technically on the Draven side and be able to say, hey, guess what? How are you going to be able to take this now? So another discipline going to be coming out that is going to be automatically approved by the Duck Murderer. But still, I'm worried that the switcheroo is going to be coming, as now the first mate is at 9. Now still, there's a lot of might on the flip of that with Draven. And again, if he does also meet this combat win, then on top of that, he's going to be getting a card. So this is a very important showdown for this game 1 here. And so we'll see what is able to be met with this. I'm going to be curious to watch to see if there's anything that can be done. I mean, the cards in hand are going to be very vital. Here comes an Unguard here to go up to 11 at this point, and still, even with all that, 5 additional runes left to go through on the Master Yi side. So something could very well be going down at this point, but even still, gosh, I am just so worried that one of those 4 cards can just immediately switcheroo, and I don't know if Master Yi is going to be running the not so fast to deny that, but it looks like that is not going to be the case, as the first mate is going to be falling and Draven drawing an additional card for winning that combat. So a very well done job on being able to win, but at the same time, you're still going to have to be watching out, because if that Vex decides to move in and take over a battlefield here, looks like a little rewind there, but if the Vex is able to move in, then any new units that are going to be coming out before that Vex is then killed will immediately be stunned and be unable to move. So it looks like Up from the Deep is going to be played, as another 2 tokens are going to be coming out. And there are a lot of tokens just like that on the side of Draven. Kind of a new big card, the Up from the Deep. It's been very popular in purple decks, and one to really counter if you have to go against like Call of the Week and things like that, where you don't have to worry about losing those vital units, and instead you have that safeguard there. Now, of course, against Master Yi, you don't have to worry about that in particular, but even still, this is a great situation for the Duck Murderer to be able to find himself in. But Master Yi is going to be committing to the other battlefield now that only 1 is up. But still, at that same time, Achu is going to have some good defense on his side here, especially as that army is meeting him in base on the side of Draven. Again, guys, this is round 1 of Champions of the Rift. For those of you who don't know, this is going to be a weekly tournament that you guys can join. Now, Akali is going to be coming down at that point. One of the new cards of Vendetta, 4 and a power for a 4 might, and it cannot be chosen by enemy spells and abilities unless I am in combat. So it looks like a Punch First is going to be swinging in as the Ruin Runner is going to be attacking in at a 10 to 9 might difference, and I think that is going to indeed be enough to be able to take down the Draven there, and the Ruin Runner is going to be able to defend. Now, of course, with one Punch First being taken out here, this is still going to be a very difficult situation to be finding yourselves in on trying to defend. I mean, you got a lot of might just right off the bat, and then if you have any of the spinning axes or ways to be able to increase might, it could very well be simple to get over. But again, those 5 runes up on the side of Yi, you could be assuming, hey, it could be a Rengar that could be surprising here. It could also be, you know, a number of spells, though we have seen 2 disciplines already and an Unguard that were used in an exchange. And so we'll see if this is going to be something that can indeed be met. But this, I mean, you've built up the base here, and that is going to be a very good start for Draven to be able to take this game 1. He's been able to have the points accrued at a very even rate here, but it is down to this as a Darius comes in. And of course, if you are playing a Darius, you have a second card that you're going to be able to play, and that will add another 7 might that is going to be able to attack in at this. And so at the same time, I don't know exactly, even if you do decide as the Draven, you could just take one battlefield and then hold both, and try to hold and leave it up to them. And it looks like, yeah, that might very well be what could be happening here, as the focus is then passed with all that might moving in. Does Master Yi have the response? That is going to be going up to 6 might at that point. And even with all that, there is still a lot that Draven could be utilizing with those 4 cards in hand and the 7 runes still up. And so it all comes down to this. And even if this is a loss of a battlefield, you very well might be just saying, hey, in this case, I'm going to give up the Star Spring, and then I'm going to attack everything else, and try to defend with the Ruin Runner, especially since the Ruin Runner cannot be targeted. So in this case, a Chu is going to be giving up the Star Spring. That's going to be an additional 3 cards that are going to be drawn here, depending on if one of the Kaisas are taken out. But at this point, which would you rather take out, the Vex or a Kaisa? Because that card draw could make a really big difference here. But it looks like a Vex and a token is going to be taken out. And that means that Draven is going to be able to draw a card for winning the combat and 2 cards from Kaisa. And I mean, just like that, Draven's hand goes extremely big. And I mean, gosh, 7 runes still up. Not only could he take the other battlefield and win the game, I mean, heck, he could have a couple of responses to be able to do so, but even still, you're hoping maybe for the spinning axe to try to add some stuff if there's a Punch First or things like that, as a stack deck is going to be coming in. Again, I apologize that the cards are not there, but a Defy is going to be coming down to stop the stack deck. A very interesting choice right there. So the stack deck is no more. And it looks like the Cleave is going to be coming down. That is going to be added to a unit here. But again, it looks like another one and done, as a Defy again is going to be stopping the Cleave from going through. The Darius is still not readied. But again, you got to assume that even a unit being played at this point is going to be enough to ready up the Darius, as it looks like a Gust Monk is going to be coming in. And then you can play the additional cost of 1 to add Assault 2. So you could even add that, for example, to your bot to be able to attack him from multiple fronts there. But it looks like it is going to be added to the Darius that is going to be able to go up to 9. And I really do like this Monk, because you can banish a card from the trash as after paying 1 as well to add Assault 2. So in this case, that could be a big deciding factor, as the Ruin Runner now is going up to 7 might though this is a big field. I mean, we got 10, 12, 15 that is going to be here. But even still, one punch first and a couple of other options might be enough to hold on. But the big thing is, with only 3 cards in hand for Yi, I don't know if that's going to be enough to be able to hold this game. Number 1. We'll see. Yep, and it looks like that is going to be the game. So, yeah, just like that, I mean, Draven was able to have a really good game. And this is something that can be a little bit tough, too, because Draven is, I think, back in the meta. I don't think he ever really necessarily left, but for some reason, people after the bans ended up abandoning him. So for whatever reason, that seemed to be, they fell to the wayside. But even so, when we were in the Unleashed meta, Draven in the regionals was still finding himself at around a 55 to 53% win rate, depending on the regional. So still a really good win percentage. And again, since it is purple and red, there was a lot of good buffs that were able to be utilized there and added to his card pool, making him even that much more of a threat there. So we'll see what is able to be done with this and what could be happening here as we go into round number 2. Now, the opponents are going to be side decking out here. Played round, got part, will drop, and hold, holy draw dead match. Okay, sounds good. So it looks like as we go now into game number 2, we will see what is able to be done and what they are able to match against. And again, this is going to be a lot of fun to be able to see what they are. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So here we go as we go into game number 2. Did we get rated? Hey, Will Win, good to see you. But yeah, it looks like that we are going to be starting off with a pretty good start with being able to move in with the Scuttle Crab that will then be able to be replayed and drawing a lot to get ahead. Now, the nicest part about having the Emperors means that you are going to be able to automatically defend for 4. And wow, Froden deciding to raid. Thank you so much, Froden. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. And yeah, thank you guys. That really means a lot. So just so you know, this is a weekly tournament that I am running on my Discord where we get to get started with Nexus Night style of tournament that I then bring and cast to you each and every week. It's a free tournament, and people are trying to qualify for an end-of-season tournament to be able to win 2 play mats, 1 for first and 1 for being second. So pretty cool stuff right there, and welcome everyone. And again, thank you, Froden, for the raid. Really, really appreciate that. And so with that being said, again, another pit rookie being able to come in and buff up that Lonely Poro that will then be able to move in. And yes, this tournament is always on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to be a part of that, always feel free. It is, again, a free place for you to be able to play, and a good way to have a practice to be able to get better, especially as we are in a new format. Now, I really appreciate it, Froden. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and again, it's a very chill atmosphere. People are able to bring their decks that they are trying to learn for their Nexus Night skirmishes, whatever else it might be, regionals, for example, too, and it's a lot of fun competition that you are able to have. And so game number 1, round 1 here is going to be against Draven versus Yi. And right now, it looks like Yi's being able to set up a lot of the momentum here. And yes, this is going to be a free tournament, and I also cast it each and every week as well. So information to join is going to be down in my Discord for you to be able to be a part of that. And yeah, it's a free one, and no matter what, we play 3 rounds. Depending on how you place in that tournament, you are then going to be able to get points that will be added to a leaderboard that will help you qualify for that end of season tournament. So a lot of fun and very easy to be able to join and be a part of. But it looks like that the Lonely Poro is going to be taken down by a spinning axe that is being wielded by Kaisa. And that's going to be another 2 cards drawn on the side of Draven. Very powerful to be able to get back into this game, especially with such a monstrous start there on the Master Yi side. So, I mean, Can't go wrong with that, but it looks like we are also going to be doing a little bit of a switcheroo there with the Tide Turner being able to move in and keep that Kai'Sa alive for a little bit longer. The Tide Turner is expendable, but the Kai'Sa wants to be able to play a little bit longer. Now, I think that this is going to be a very important turn that Master Yi is going to be finding themselves in, where they're going to need to be able not only to be able to take back these board states here, but also be able to defend against the possible onslaught that can be coming in from Draven. Now, the big thing about red, too, is that you have to worry about things like Falling Star. But with purple, again, another gust coming out. But it looks like that an Ungard is going to be played in response to that to go up to 5 and make the gust irrelevant. Now, that's the thing about reaction spells, being able to add an additional 2 in response to a gust that will bounce back a unit that is 3 or less might. So a great job on being able to get that kind of answer there. So we'll see what else is able to be done there. But right now, the Pit Rookie is able to now take the Rockfall path and also now be able to defend for 5 because of the +2 from the Legend ability. So job's not done yet, though. There is still a lot that needs to be done here as we move ever into the middle of this game. And again, though, Master Yi is doing a really good job on being able to defend. The hard part with Kai'Sa being out and about, though, is that it can be very easy then for Draven to refill the hand, because with Kai'Sa, you're going to be able to gain a card draw pretty much no matter what on the Conquer. But again, if Kai'Sa is able to win a combat on top of that, that's going to be 2 cards that are able to be drawn. So we'll see what then Draven is going to be able to do. They have the rune count at 8 runes, which is awesome, but at the same time, still difficult to be able to see only 3 cards in hand. So pretty limited on the type of versatility that you might be able to utilize here, but still, the door is wide open for Kai'Sa to try to take care of this board state. Now, the thing should be noted, too, that Achu, as Master Yi, did lose out on game number 1. So this game is pivotal. Otherwise, the Master Yi is going to be immediately O2'd and starting the next round at a little bit of a deficit there. Now, Kai'Sa is going to be moving in and being able to draw 2 cards, one for the Kai'Sa ability and one for the Draven Legend ability, being able to win a combat and drawing 1. And so with that being said, another vital double conquer here as we go up to 4 points, as the Forerunner is then going to be coming out. And now the tough part is here, we have a lot of units that are in the base for Master Yi, but at the same time, not a whole lot of answers. We have a 0 might, a 2 might, and that's pretty much it. You're going to be wanting to really hope for the punch first or things along those lines to be able to add 5 might, but even then, would that be enough to try to get around these kinds of board states? Time will tell, but at the same time, with those 2 runes up on the side of Draven, there could be a couple of tricks that he could utilize. I mean, we got Switcheroo, we got another Spinning Axe, which we already see on the Kai'Sa, for example. Very good, being able to play at Quick Draw to add +3. That surprise +3 can be a big difference maker there on that, as another Pit Rookie is going to be coming in and buffing up a Pit Rookie. Now, the thing is, Master Yi only gets the +2 when they are defending alone here. And so another is going to be coming in as Primal Strength is going to be coming into the fight, adding a +7 to the Pit Rookie, making that at a very, very intimidating 10 might. And so right there, it is going to be moving in to the battlefield, taking on a 7 might Kai'Sa. And will there be any response there? And it looks like a Rebuke is going to be coming in to bounce back that Pit Rookie. And if there is no response here, no, not so fast, then I don't know what the Master Yi is going to be able to do against this Draven here to be able to stay in this game. That's going to be another 1 combat if this Rebuke goes through and returns the Pit Rookie to hand. And it looks like that is going to be the case, and another card drawn for the Draven winning a combat. And so, I mean, that was a lot of utility. I mean, the Primal Strength cost 4 and a power to be able to then give 7 might to a unit that then just got tossed back to hand. Now, the Draven is past, you know, was able to get rid of all the runes at that point, but still, We will see how this is able to be responded to, but you are giving the Draven, as the turn is passed from Master Yi, the opportunity to be able to completely defend and reinforce these two battlefields to push in to those 8 points. So we'll see. And yeah, just keep in mind too, one thing that we are going to be doing a lot more of as well is that on Sundays, I'm going to be starting to run earlier tournaments too, so that we can get tournaments for EU players to be able to get in, because I know that during the week at this time, it is very difficult for EU players to be able to compete. And so we will be running weekend tournaments a little bit more as well for you guys. So it looks like in this case, interestingly enough, we are going to just be at the 6 points. There's going to be no way for the Master Yi to be able to get to 8 points themselves. But oddly enough, you're going to be giving Master Yi the chance to be able to defend here and set up some board states for himself. Now, with also the Scuttle Crab being able to move into the battlefield, we're going to be utilizing the Emperor's Dais, which is going to allow a Sand Soldier to be created and another card being drawn from Scuttle Crab, just giving you that little bit more, a couple of options to be able to take care of the potential defense that you are going to be needing from Draven in order to win this game. And I mean, this is going to be so back and forth on how this could resolve, but I really feel like that Draven still has a little bit of an upper hand. And yes, so in order to join these tournaments, the Discord is going to be down in the description below. There also is the Discord on my YouTube, which is going to be Silent Night Riftbound. It pulls it right up. This is also being live streamed on YouTube. And then you're going to be able to find that down below. Also, you're going to be able to join. It's a free tournament if we run it on Saturdays and things like that. Looks like that a Chew is going to be leaving, as the Duck Murderer is going to be taking the game. So, wow, that was a pretty decisive match and a good showing from Draven here. You know, it happens sometimes. You got to be a little bit careful with how, how those battlefield wins can be, and sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to try to maneuver around those kinds of board states. So with that being said, guys, again, thank you so much for being here. We are in round 1 of this tournament. Let me see, where do you report the results? Nope, just report on challenge. You'll see a pencil next to your match. Okay, sorry. Yep, I'm running the tournament at the same time. So we are going to be bringing you guys another match in this case. And I think that we're going to go Mike and Soda here, which are going to be over on TCGA Arena. So you're going to be able to check out these matches and tournaments to be able to take this on. And if you know Rift Atlas a little bit better, awesome. And if you know TCG Arena, you're able to utilize that as well. So with that being said, we're going to be able to go into this next game. We're pulling up the match right now for you guys. And then just getting one final thing set up as we transition over, and I'll fix the stuff in real time for you guys. So in this match, it looks like that we actually have an Ezreal that is going to be taking on a MF, or sorry, a Sivir in this case. So, I mean, I haven't really seen too much of like a Sivir Aurora in a while, but it looks like, yeah, this is going to be something that we could be seeing a little bit more of. And we've also even seen a return of Ezreal, which is really interesting to be considering. And so I'm going to be curious to see if Sivir is still going to be able to get some legs here on how this is going to be able to resolve. But there is a lot of game to be had here, and we don't know exactly. Let's see. And unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what game we are currently in here. But it looks like that we are going to be trying to fight through this, as a Wages of Pain is going to be coming out and attacking in to blow up, or try to blow up something here. It's not Sivir, it's Aurora, it's the same, yeah. So Sivir Aurora on one side going against an Ezreal, and it looks like that it is going to be Pack Ezreal, which has been a very popular one, even being able to win the Runes and Rift tournament and doing a good job. It can be a little bit complicated of a deck. It also can be a difficult deck to be able to set up as well, as it looks like we have Bellows Breath that is going to be coming in to deal even more damage to these units. But it looks like, unfortunately, the only thing that is targetable here is going to be the Elder Dragon. So trying to take that down can be a little bit difficult. And yeah, it looks like Sivir is going to be struggling a little bit more. It seems like Jace Aurora might very well be the best Aurora deck now. But still trying to see what is able to be done here. And so, I mean, gosh, can you believe the board state that this is in, though? The fact that you are able to get not one, but two of the Barons out onto a battlefield is just so difficult to try to deal with at this point. And at the same time, there is an empty hand on the side of Sivir. So a little bit difficult to maybe try to deal with this, but Ezreal also trying to take care of two Barons. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Baron is a very difficult unit to try to take down because I cannot be chosen by enemy spells and abilities. And so if there is something that chooses it, such as the Bellows Breath that would have been able to deal one, that's going to be a big difference maker right there and something to be very mindful of. Now, with that being said, though, it looks like that is just going to be sent in and unable to be responded to. And that is so tough, not being able to take out the Elder Dragon. Stack deck coming in from the Sivir here. And being able to dig a little to try to find some answers. Now, is there going to be a way for this Ezreal to be able to figure stuff out? Now, the hard part here is... Don't tell me it glitched. Okay, good. The hard part about this is that Ezreal moves extremely slow as a deck. And that means that you are giving Aurora a huge advantage here. I mean, gosh, another Aurora. Two Auroras out at this point. Gosh. I mean, it's just almost a worst case scenario there. And then on the flip of that, we also are having a Scryer's Bloom to be able to look at the top two cards of the deck and be able to add one to hand. Swiftfoot Boots is going to be added and equipped. And that could very well be, yep, to the Baron, which will be able to go over to the third battlefield. And now this could be over in a very quick minute. Now, I don't know what game we are in particular. Ezreal could be side decking in an unchecked power. And if that is the case, then we are really hoping that Sivir doesn't have a flash. If there is a flash, then they are going to be able to back out. But it also might be the case that there might not be any units left in the deck. Yep, looks like there are 0 units left in the deck at that point. The entire deck has been checked. And what you see now is what you get, which can also be a pretty big advantage for Ezreal. If he is able to somehow deal with these units, then he might be able to find a way to take care of it. But even still, this is tough, yeah, because you're going to be seeing both of these are going to be empowering each other. That's going to be 14 there. And another Baron in hand as the hand is revealed at that point. Yep, with the Mind Splitter. So going to be able to get rid of probably the Baron, but still, you're going to have to figure out how to clear out at least one of these battlefields to stay in the game. And unchecked won't even be enough to kill anything here. Everything that you see on the board is at 14 might. And then, of course, Boots of Swiftness is going to be adding an additional 2. So 16, 14 in the Baron Pit, and 14 in the other battlefield. Of Shell of the World. Gosh, just a very difficult situation to be finding yourselves in here. And I mean, double Aurora already is going to be a very difficult situation there. And even with the cards in hand, I don't think there's going to be anything that Ezreal can do to be able to deal with this board state. So with that being said, yep, that's going to immediately be going up to 8 points as this game is going on the side of Chief with Sivir Aurora. Yeah, because there's no way... Yeah, the cards got banned. There's no way to go at this point. So this might actually be game number 3 at that point. or even game 2, and they were 2-0'd at that. So we'll see what is going on here. We're going back to the League Gen to be able to get it and see what else. I mean, because, yeah, we still got a lot of time. These have been very quick matches. We still have another 25 minutes left on the clock, so I'm kind of surprised that we are finding ourselves in such quick matches here. But don't worry, we're going to be finding you guys a little bit more as we go in to spectate. And we'll see what we are able to find. Now that was, we'll go to Swifty. Maybe not. Okay, let's see. Thank you guys for your patience. This game has advanced. Continue in room. Oh, okay. So that's what they mean. So here we go, being able to go into another one for us to be able to get going. So let's see what is in store. And yeah, with that being said, let's actually go to this board state here so we don't have to worry about changing things. And you guys don't need to see me. But with that being said, we are going to be finding ourselves back with a Kha'Zix versus a Akali here. A very interesting matchup to be able to take a look at as we are in 6-5. And it looks like we are actually in game number 2 here. So one to watch. And holy, is there a Vilemaw on the side of this battlefield. Very interesting to be able to see here as the Akali gets bounced back with the Starspring to move in to the other battlefield, and we are finding ourselves at 6-6. Though even so, right now the Kha'Zix might be able to find a way to try to deal with this. We have some punch firsts and things like that to be able to try to maneuver around this board state. But even still, there are 2 runes left up for the Akali here. And that's the thing. This can be something very difficult. And I like this because one of the things that I found, especially when trying to defend with Akali and trying to figure out this deck for myself, but one of the hardest things was trying to find a way to be able to get myself to survive the defense here. Now, the Akali itself is not going to be able to defend for much, especially because of the Forbidding Waste. This is going to add -2 to the Akali there, so that means that it is going to be at just a 2 might, something relatively easy to then get over. But on the flip side of that, we have a Vilemaw, which is going to be very difficult because enemy units with less might than me don't deal combat damage. So if there's any way to be able to buff up your units, either with a Discipline, an Unguard, or something like that, you can sink that right into the Vilemaw and then be able to go up to 10 might. Yeah, so to be able to participate in this tournament, it is free for you guys. It is at every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. You're able to join down in the Discord below. You can find that link either on my Twitch or on YouTube to be able to do so. And then being able to do so will allow you to sign up. We also have a check-in link that you then check in on. And then you play however many rounds you want to play. We have 3 rounds that we will be doing tonight. And if you end up playing 1 round and then you end up dropping, perfectly fine. And if you go 2 rounds and end up dropping, that's fine too. And gosh, yeah, if you did end up putting like Swiftfoot boots on the Vilemaw or something like that, it's going to be interesting. But it looks like that we actually have the Void Assault, which could be coming in. Now, that's going to allow you to move a friendly unit and then move an enemy unit. So the Vilemaw is going to be going back to base at that, which is going to be a very nice move there, especially since the Not So Fast was trying to come out and they had a second signature spell that was able to be utilized there. And it looks like Forgotten Signpost is going to be here at action speed to be able to save the Stellacorn and move the unit right back to base. Wow. So, I mean, just a great way to see Forgotten Signpost. We saw some play of this card back in set 3 of Unleashed. Not very much, but it was trickling in, and we could see now that, yeah, that was a very nice move to be able to get some maneuverability there. And even still, though, we have the Zed that's able to go up to 7 and 1 battlefield left with a tapped out Akali. This could be the move to be able to get in and take down that Akali. I mean, it just has to be like a punch first at this point. There's a couple of different things that can buff up the tentacle. But is that going to be enough? Maybe, because it looks like, oh, but the Star-Crossed So you can move in. That's going to be the thing. The Tentacle can move in, and then when the combat starts, then the Akali can be selected at that point. And so that's going to be the play. You move in with the Tentacle, then you play the Starcross, bounce back Shadow Clone, and the Akali, and you would win at that point. And so it looks like, I'm not sure what they're saying here at this point. Again, we're not going to be in the lobby itself. But still, something very interesting to be keeping in mind here. Because, yeah, they definitely have the ability to win here if they so choose. And you can also, yeah, swap Zed with the Shadow at action speed and be able to have him ready and attack right in. That also is going to be an auto win. So, just so you know, guys, yeah, the action speed here for 1 and a Chaos, you are going to be able to move me and a Shadow Clone you control to each other's locations. And so, yeah, I'm not quite sure who won this. We'll go and check the leaderboard here pretty soon, too, to see who ended up taking that, but definitely something to be keeping an eye on. That was interesting to see. So, with that being said, yeah, it looks like that the majority of these matches have been reported so far. So let's take a look at the leaderboards here and zoom into this a little bit. That would help you guys out a little bit. And so with that being said, it looks like we are still going to be waiting for an additional 2 matches here. And looks like so far Siri was able to take from 2-1. We also have Worstness losing to Swifty. So that was what we saw with a 2-0. So, yeah, got to watch out for that. So, watch out. Ezreal, sometimes that is the tough part, is that Ezreal can move really slow in the beginning game. So, if you are able to give, like, Aurora or an aggressive deck the chance to be able to take a lot of stuff, can be very difficult. But looks like on the flip side, Siri is saying that Aurelia Mir. So, yeah, usually I do love watching Siri. Masterful, a very, very skilled Aurelia player. But yeah, watching the Aurelia Mir is not something that anyone likes to generally watch there as we go into this. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Let me check out the Discord to see if we do have any drops here. It looks like that Beg did say that he was going to be dropping there. So played round, got part, will drop, and holy draw dead and match. So let me double check. But yeah, guys, so just so you know, we are going to be waiting. I think that there are, we'll try to, well, you know what, we'll try to hop into one more, I think. And I think that we are, because, I mean, we still have a lot of time left in this match. And so we'll see what we are able to join into. And then we'll get into our next round. I mean, everything actually so far is running relatively smoothly here. And again, thank you guys so much for being here on that. So, oh gosh. Okay, so they are going to be in game number 3 here as we go into this match. And Azir going against Victor. No wonder this game is taking a little bit longer as we go into this. And so we'll double check on if they are going to be dropping. Oh, and then room 6 all the way at the bottom. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's what you meant. Okay. So Superbird is still in there as well. Going against NGB Spartan. So good to see that going. So yeah, guys, here we go with Azir coming in. And this is the interesting part too, because Azir did not necessarily get a whole lot or really any support in this last set with Vendetta. So at the same time, we've still been able to see like an Azir that was able to get top 8 in a tournament. We were also able to see Azir, I think, win the Nova Riftbound YouTube tournament too. So there are still some very good legs here on this bird that is able to be utilized in this meta. And the hard part, though, that I think that could be a challenge here for this matchup, or for Azir in this meta, is going to be the return of Red. Draven, with Annie, with, Akali, and with all of those, you are going to be seeing thermo beams and things along those lines to be keeping in mind with all of this. And so, we'll see where all of that is going to be taken care of. And then let me see. Okay. And we'll see what Victor is able to do. But at the same time, I mean, Victor was able to get a lot of versatility here. And something that I am going to be very curious to continue to see how he develops, because it feels like that he's in a very good spot right now. I really like where Victor is at. He's got the card draw now. He can go very wide very easily, and this is going to be one of the 2 matches that we are still waiting to have finished. And it looks, I for a second thought that this was frozen, but no, it doesn't look like this, but looks like they were just tanking on what to be able to decide to move in. But even still, we have 2 units, both 1 might units, going against an Azir and going against a token that has a BF sword. So that's going to be 5 might on the other battlefield here. But a naked Azir, no equipment added at that point. And what is this but Plaza Guardian that is going to be coming into the fray here, costing 1 less for each gear you control. And that's going to be interesting because, I mean, we have 3 gear that are able to be utilized. So still paying 7 for this, but that's going to be an 8 might that can move in. Now keep in mind though, the Azir is going to be finding himself at 6 might. So very well could be moving his units back to base and anticipating the attack here on the next couple of turns here. So we'll see what could be done. So, yeah, and it looks like we do have Beg dropping here, so perfectly fine. But yeah, this is going to be a big moment here, as it looks like we might just be trying to defend. And I mean, if we have a couple of spells that could be pretty vital here, we might very well be finding ourselves in an opportunity to really make it difficult for this Azir. Now, the biggest thing that we do have to worry about is going to be a Rise. If our opponent has a Rise and is able to then make, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 units additionally, readying 2 of them, then you can take over 1 battlefield, and then Azir can move all of those tokens immediately right over to the other battlefield, and that could very easily be a GG there too. So, very interesting to be able to see, and it's so fun to be able to see this meta so far, too. I mean, we've been able to see a Sivir Aurora still reigning supreme here, Ezreal making a return, Azir. I mean, this is the cool part that I absolutely love about this game, is that we do feel like, it feels like that we just have a very nice meta here, where a lot of decks have some versatility, have some threats here, and it looks like that the board is going to be stacked, and the Ornn is not going to be left there to defend. And so it looks like that the Ezreal, or sorry, it looks like the Victor could very well be saying, I'm pretty sure I can hold here, but we'll see. There's a lot to be seen here, as the tokens are going to be moving in to try to take down this battlefield, but will the answers that Azir could have be enough to take the other? At the same time, he could still potentially pass. And if he does pass, oh, looks like that is going to be a rewind. And if he does pass, then you do have to deal with an Ornn and potentially maybe some spell removal, but that might be it. And so we'll see what can be done here. And I can understand the tanking. We still, of course, have, it looks like, 10 minutes left in this round before we go to turns. And so, going to have to try to calculate out the best way to maneuver around this board state. But at the same time, I'm not quite sure what is going to be able to be done here. But it looks like he is doing his math. Everything is going to be added in. And I think the biggest thing is going to be, does he have the Arise? But it doesn't look like it. He is going to be moving in, and then his tokens are going to be moving over as well. Now, the thing to keep in mind, too, is that the Doran Shield is going to be adding tank, meaning that that's going to be the one that takes the brunt of the damage here. A Stupefy, though, going to be coming in to give -1 to a target there. And there's going to be a Discipline on top of that to add +2 to the Azir. So instead of going down 1, it's only going to go up 1. And being able to draw another card there is going to be interesting. Then the Salvage at action speed is going to be able to blow something up, as Death Grip in response is going to be blowing up the 7 Might token and giving that 7 Might over to Azir. And I really do like this play, because instead, now the gear is still going to get blown up, but the 7 Might is going to be able to be transferred over before the gear is going to change in the Might. So very well done there, and another card draw on the side of Azir here. And so that's going to be 15, and there's the Arise. And so, yeah, it looks like that very well just might be the end of the debate, saying, hey, but let's see, because, yeah, we got 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so it looks like, yeah, with everything there, it looks like the Azir is going to be taking this game. So very well done on the side of Azir. Very tough matchup and very evenly matched going against a Victor. And I love what this Victor deck is doing, being able to then go in and have some bigger units that it's able to play. I love seeing the Ornn coming in and having some versatility there too. So we'll see what is able to be handled here. But it is a very well done game right there, as the Azir is going to be taking it 8-5. So again, very close right there in the game 3. And got to say, really love what we are able to see here. Azir still has legs. You can't count Azir out. And it looks like we're waiting on Spartan. Come on, he's my friend. I met him at the airport. Actually, really funny side story since we got time. You know, with Spartan and everything, it was funny because I was sitting at the airport. We were delayed. Gosh, I was there in the airport for 12 hours. And we were delayed and everything. And he came walking by going to his flight on the way home and saw me at my laptop and everything. And we came over and talked. And he invited me to his playtest group and stuff like that. Good group of guys. And a couple of them have ended up joining this tournament as well. And so very fun to be able to see that. And very cool to just have this community be able to come together like that. Just super fun happenstance in Hartford. And we ended up talking for about 30 minutes since, again, we had nothing better to do waiting for our flights there. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. We are going to be going in and using that. I do think, yeah, not putting the Ornn in that battlefield was one of the biggest decisions on losing that match, unfortunately. Thinking that you were going to be able to, because that's the thing, it's all or nothing. But likewise, the difficult part too is that the Ornn doesn't have the mobility that you would normally need, meaning that the Azir could then just go and take all the entire battlefield on the flip side of that, and then just pass. And there's no ganking that you are able to then use at that point. So it's just a very difficult situation right there to be finding yourself in. And a very good win too, not having an answer like the Arise. He was able to draw into it, but again, still being able to deal with the board state was a very well done job there. At that. So guys, we still have one person or one team that is waiting. Was that the one that was in the vlog? No, that wasn't. But yeah, I'm unsure with Arise and also 3 Death Grips if it would have also made a difference. No, I don't necessarily think so in that case. Yeah, I don't think so. But you never know. That's going to be the hard part there too. But I think, yeah, the Ornn still would have been not enough at that point. So yeah, guys, I mean, we're in Vendetta. This is week, what are we? Yeah, we're in week 1 of Vendetta being out, which is just really cool to be able to see. That came out on July 31st. And the meta so far is feeling really good. It's interesting though, because we didn't necessarily have a whole lot of support necessarily. We got 9 new legends and we got cards, but it doesn't seem like that a lot of them are going to be going into these new decks. And, you know, that's kind of a refreshing thing. This was the set that was supposed to be syncing everything up. And so we'll see how that all ends up playing out. Just for fun, let me go check on Spartan. But yeah, good to have you guys here. So it looks like they finished game 1. Good, that's helpful. They are in game 2, or game 3. Good. Okay, they're in game 3. They had to remake the lobby, that's why. So it looks like we do have a Kennen versus Draven. Oh my gosh, they might actually be going to time. So here we go, guys. I didn't think that they would be this far away. And yeah, being untargetable during your turn is just absolutely nuts. That's just crazy. So here we go with Draven versus Kennen. Kennen's easily just one of the best decks in this, and Kennen Miracle is even better here. And so we're going to see what is able to be done as we pass, but this is looking like just an absolute grind of a match here, where we are finding ourselves just back and forth with trying to get these points. I mean, gosh, we are going on 55 minutes of this round 1, and we are in game 3, and it is 2-3. And so I can only imagine how, I mean, gosh, how many rounds have we watched? We've watched 3 other competitors at this point, or 3 other matches at this point, and they are at the grind trying to figure out how to overtake this back and forth. And I gotta say, the Fizz is just gonna be such a powerful option here, being able to recycle the rune, or being able to recycle the spells. That could be something to really shut down what Draven is able to do. But the Darius is going to be coming in. And for 7, we are going to be seeing a Noxus Hopeful and a Darius going in for 11-9. But even still, there are 3 runes left up at this point, but with no answer, as it looks like the Fizz and the Rasa are going to be falling, and Draven drawing a much-needed card here for winning the combat. Now, even still, though, there's a lot of threats here that you can see on the other side. We have the Nocturne that is at 4 might, also has ganking. Very easy thing to be able to forget. And then also the Rasa that is going to be at 6 might. And the thing that worries me here is that we are going to be seeing that the Draven is completely tapped out. So that's going to be giving free reign here to what Kennen can do here. Now, I don't know if the Kennen is empowered just yet. So how you actually go about empowering the Kennen here is that when you play a card from anywhere other than your hand, you can empower him. And that also adds Assault too. So the Kaisa is going to be retreating, a nice turn right there. And then we have the Noxus Hopeful on one side. So we could see the Nocturne taking over a free battlefield here, playing one of the new battlefields. And it looks like Shadow of the Past is going to be coming in to be able to get 2 units back. I really like this card too. It's not, the hard part is because you have like Morbid Return, which is able to target 1 for 2 energy or 2 for 3 and a power with the card that you just saw. So that can be a little bit difficult of a choice. But even still, the Rasa is going to easily take down that Noxus Hopeful. But do you then go and commit the Nocturne here? I think that's going to be the real question, because then you're giving free reign with 5 cards in hand and 8 runes for Draven the opportunity to then attack in. Now they have 3 minutes left on the clock. I might give them a little bit of an extension because he did have a hard time finding, he didn't have the correct rolls. And so, no, he still was able to get in. So, let's see, Choi? Choi. Okay. Okay, so it looks like someone is dropping here. But yeah. So another Rasa coming out to be able to have 12 might at that point. That is an answer to be met. Now, again, we've been able to see the rebukes. We've been able to see the Starcross, which has been very powerful here. But the hardest part, too, that can be difficult to realize is when your opponent Starcross, so say the Draven Starcrosses, and selects the Rasa, you in response, playing purple as well, can Starcross, targeting your Rasa that is already targeted, and take out both of their units. So that can be kind of the chicken game that you are playing here on trying to figure out which battlefield to try to take things going. And so we'll see what is able to be done here. But Spartan is going to be given the helm here at this point and seeing how he can then pilot this to victory. I mean, it is going to be potentially 4-4 here pretty soon. But again, they are going to be at turns any more moment now. So I'm going to have to go tell them when they go. But it looks like the turn has passed. It is on Spartan now to be able to try to navigate this. And gosh, you got to imagine, I mean, 5 cards in hand, that is a lot, especially for Draven. Every card is just so powerful in this matchup. And it looks like a Thunder Song is going to be coming in, and that's going to be allowed. So the 3 runes left up is going to be left to say, hey, too bad. And a Falling Star coming in to deal 6 damage. And with that being said, it looks like they're just going to crash on in and try to take this battlefield here. So the Kaisa is going to be taken out, but still going to be drawing a card off of the Draven. That can be a very difficult choice to try to make, as the Zon Warrants is going to allow another card to be discarded and drawn. Hey guys, time for turns. So whoever turn it is currently, turn 0. Yep, it is. Good luck. Alrighty. Yeah, I do it all. So I'm running the participation tab and dropping certain players and stuff like that. We do it all. So with that being said, they are on turn 0, and it looks like the Kennen is able to start turn 1 just in the nick of time here. And so we'll see. Of course, it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So yeah. Looks like they are on turns at that point and talking about that in the chat. And it looks like a Rebuke is going to be answering here soon on targeting the Noxus Hopeful. So that hidden card could very well dissolve. And if that is going to be a Tide Turner in this case, so still a little bit of answers there. And switching with the Thunder Song to be able to then go in and have him be 5 might against 4. Now, there could still be maybe another answer to be able to utilize here, but still a great response there from Spartan to maybe try to hold on, because we've seen so far that the Kennen hasn't had a whole lot of answers in trying to deal with this board state, but maybe here he top decks something. Lightning Rush being played from the trash is going to be maybe a step in that right direction, though that is going to be 3 and a power to be able to do so, and discarding the other 2. So hopefully he's able to get some kind of response to deal with Thundersong here. And especially because, I mean, if there isn't a way to be able to deal with that, you're going to be finding yourself at Spartan being at 6 points and going into turn 2, potentially going to 7 on top of that. But the Last Rites is going to be coming in, adding an additional 2. So it's going to be 6-5. And potentially being able to play out an additional unit. So another Rasa could be coming down at that point to be able to deal with that answer. So, I mean, that's one of the nicest parts about playing Shovel in a Miracle Kennen, is that you're able to just pay the power cost to be able to immediately play back out a very powerful 6 might unit, where otherwise you wouldn't be able to with only 1 rune up. And so Shovel is going to be activating here and playing out the Rasa with sacrificing a power of Chaos And looks like that is going to be played out. And also empowering Kinnan. Now, this can be a little bit of a risk because, yeah, while you do have the 12 might here, ooh, and 2 red runes that are able to maybe find another falling star here. With only a tide turner, though, you're finding yourself in a little bit of a difficult moment. And there's another falling star that is going to be coming in, dealing 6 damage to the Nocturne. And that's going to allow him to go in and take the battlefield. But August is going to be immediately responding to that. Now, if there's a spinning axe in hand, that could be the answer. But it looks like no such card is found. And so we'll see what is able to be answered to here. But that could be a big deciding factor. Especially on trying to find a tiebreaker. Now, the nice part about taking out the Nocturne and why I liked that is because it has ganking, meaning that it would be able to conquer and get an additional point in a tiebreaker here. Not something that you generally want to see, but it looks like we are just going to stack the battlefield. The Last Rites is not also going to be able to play another unit from the trash, which is very solid. Great job there. And so looks like turn 2 is going to be on the Kinnan, with the final turn going to Spartan here. So it is all going to be coming down to this on who is going to be able to take this game. Now, still, if somehow he's going to be able to go up to 6 points, then this is essentially going to be ending in a tie. But if somehow Kinnan is only able to take care of a battlefield, and then Spartan has the answers to be able to take both, then this game will be as good as done here. So you got to be so calculated there, as it looks like the shovel is going to be equipped. We could also see a boots. We could see a ride the wind. And if so, then it might very well be ending in a tiebreaker. And it looks like, yep, ride the wind is going to be coming out. And that's going to be potentially another Rasa that is going to be played here. And so just like that, yep, looks like that is going to be a conquer up to 6 points. And I think that this is going to end in a tie at that, because there is going to be no way to win by 2 for Spartan here. And so after all of that, the grind, and it's going to be ending in a 1-1 victory. Or 1-1 tie. Wow. So in this case, yeah, very, very good matches so far for this round 1. And thank you guys for being here and a part of that. We have 2 more rounds coming your way here, so a lot of fun to be had. And again, thank you to Froden for the raid. Very much appreciated. So we'll see. I've talked to Froden, I think. I talked to him in Vegas and in... Was he? No, he wasn't at Hartford. I've only talked to him in Vegas. I was like, did I talk to him twice? No. But it looks like, yeah, there we go. And then a Fizz is going to be coming down, and that's going to be also reinforcing the battlefield here. But again, there's not going to be any way, especially with going into turn 3 for Spartan, this is going to just end in a tie. Playing back a Gust. Interesting. Not quite sure. And I mean, is he just like kind of playing the Fizz and doing the Gust back anyway, just as like a meme in that case? Or no, looks like it might have been a misclick. And another Ride the Wind. Now again, after turn 3, it is all but over. So it doesn't necessarily matter, but... this is essentially just a tie. Still, though, looks like it's a wait and see here. So it looks like, yep, turn 3 has been called out. And he's going to be able to go up to 7, but he's not going to be able to, or if he is, he's going to be able to go up to 7. But even still, going to be 6-6 and potentially a tie. And that's going to be a difficult situation. Looks like they are still going to be playing this out. And now discarding and drawing 1 after the conquer. And yeah, getting rid of the Overzealous Fan. No point in having that currently. That's a dead card in hand. And so looks like Spartan's going to be typing, and I'm pretty sure he's just going to call it a tie. Yep, looks like a draw. So, with that being said, though, guys, it looks like we are going to be going into round number 2 with that. And good game, well played from those competitors there. We have round 2 that is paired, so let me get that. We'll go from 720 to 820. Good luck. So with that being said, guys, now we are going into the second round of our competition here. And we got a couple of good plays to see so far. And some fun stuff to be able to watch. I mean, I got to say, I really wish we saw more of that Azir, personally. It's one of my favorite decks. One that I'm always watching out for and wanting to see more of. So if I'm able to do so, all the better at that point. But let's take a look at the leaderboard while we wait into game number 2. So with that being said, we got ourselves in round 1 some pretty impressive games, a couple of 2-0s there. Keldor, the guy who thought that he was going to go 0-3 tonight, ending up going 2-0 versus Beg. And then on top of that too, we have in some next round matches. In our next round, we have Duck Murderer versus J-Chan. Siri versus Venusi, or Venusul. Will Win versus Keldor, which is going to be really good. And then Spartan versus Game Slayer. So a lot of really fun matches as we go into round number 2. And we'll see what else is able to be done here. So as the competitors start to get into their game, I'll get that set up for you guys. We're going to take a brief 30-second break as I get that lobby set up. So stay tuned, and we will be right back. See, I think we'll do Keldor. He's awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of really different decks here. It's really cool to see. I love that we have so many different. Did not expect that. All right, and here we go into the game. We got Keldor versus Will Win. And I mean, this is going to be an interesting one of Rek'Sai versus Kai'Sa. And this is going to be a battle of, looks like slinging back and forth there, as a Falling Star is going to be able to move in. And this is going to be a fun match too, because Keldor has been a guy that's been playing this game for a while, but also at the same time, we've been able to see that Will Win has been on Kai'Sa for a long time. So a veteran here with the deck itself. But still, when going against such a devastating deck that can have things like Call of the Week and Falling Star, it can be very difficult to try to get some responses here. So as we go into this, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what we might be able to have Rek'Sai do, especially against a very formidable deck. Now, even with that, this is going to be a very nice option here, as one of the new cards is going to be finding his way in with Noxian Emissary. And when it does get empowered, when it dies, you are able to create 2 recruits. And that is going to be something so valuable here. But even still, you could not ask for a better start from Rek'Sai on being able to respond to this. Gosh, this is going to be another really... Why do I always pick the quick game ones in this case? Because Rek'Sai has been able to just hit the ground running and is very much setting up for an explosive return to whatever Will Win will be able to do at this point. And this is sometimes one of the more difficult parts you're going to be finding yourself in here. But it looks like a perfect execution is going to be adding +3 to be able to take out that unit. You're going to be able to draw a card because of the Seat of Power. And that's going to be another 2 points immediately scored. Very fast played right there. Well, but at the same time, the Rek'Sai is completely tapped out, so not much to be responded to there at that point. And then a Falling Star of their own that's going to be taking out the Rek'Sai and one of the Infernas. The Infernas, of course, have Assault 2, being able to attack him for 3 might. And that can be a big swing for a lot of damage if you are not careful. But another Falling Star is going to be found from Keldor, taking out the Thundersong, and that's going to be the GG going into game number 2, as Keldor, in a matter of 5 minutes, I mean, he barely had time to set up this game, and he's already been able to take game number 1. And I think this is going to be the biggest thing, too, is that Rek'Sai just, I think, continues to get more and more interesting as we get deeper into these sets. And something that I thought was going to be, you know, a deck that was kind of B tier the entire time has now been able to move in and say, hey, guess what? I actually am formidable, and I do have that chance to be able to really take the game to my opponents. But now going second, is that going to be then something that Kai'Sa is going to be able to respond to, especially now the spell slinging is going to be on the other foot. So we'll see. And yes, there are some really good victor lists that are going to be from Vendetta on Piltover Archive. I think I do have one on mine. If not, I'll research one and I can put one up for you. But it looks like right there we are going to have the first move of the Carrion Dredger, and he is going to die. That's going to allow for a bird to be created, so a little bit of a replacement there, and a great way to be able to endure the Hextech Ray. But that still is going to leave the Lecturing Yordle to be able to attack in here, and a Kai'Sa that is going to be able to build up. But at the same time, I don't know if the Yordle might go for this point or not, because it is just kind of sacrificing the Yordle at this point. And is that going to be, do you need the unit more, or would you rather have the point? And it looks like at this point, Will Win will anticipate that he is going to keep that unit, but it's going to be for naught, as another Falling Star is going to be coming in, clearing out 2 of the units here, as now the Rek'Sai is going to be able to be utilized, bringing out another Dredger, and then finding another wide board being created, as Faithful Manufactor is going to be bringing in another token. You got to be finding yourself at a very difficult situation here, trying to figure out the best way to try to get through these walls that just seem to continually be put up. So the Kai'Sa at least is going to be able to get a point. And it makes me think that he has a retreat or something in hand to be able to bring the Kai'Sa back after this. But it looks like the Thunder Song after the Conquer is going to be played here. And the Temporal Breach is going to allow for the Kaisa to be bleeped and then played back to base. So yeah, banish a unit, then its owner plays it to its base, or plays it to the same location. Interesting. So kind of an interesting play right there for that. But even still, now the Kaisa is going to be holding down the fort here. And another Noxian Emissary is going to be able to come in, as it looks like we are going to have the ability, oh gosh, not necessarily seeing anything bigger here, but still being able to create more and more units. And I gotta say, this is something that makes Rek'Sai just such a good deck to be able to use, because you're going to be able to look at the top 2 cards and you're extending your hand size so much more. But not only that, you're able to get some good filtering too, because there might be certain cards that just are not applicable to this certain board state. And so you're just like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to go and take care of this. But it looks like, holy, we're going to be finding ourselves with a cleave to be able to move in and take the battlefield, as Keldor is going to be moving in and taking another much-needed double conquer there, and Kaisa has nothing left to be able to defend. So maybe some ways to accelerate some units here, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to be able to get things moving. There's going to be a lot to be seen, and I don't know what Kaisa is going to be able to do to get back into this game, because while Kaisa's been a very powerful spell slinger, there has been nothing that has been able to get things moving as fast and as quickly as Rek'Sai. And thank you so much, Dexter, for the party raid of 183. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. For those of you who are just joining us, this is a weekly tournament that takes place every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you do want to be a part of it, we play 3 rounds. You sign up on my Discord, which is linked down below, and then you are able to, holy board wipe, and just like that, where I thought we were in a good spot, yeah, it looks like we are right back at it, and there is no conquers. Holy crap. But if you do want to join the Discord down below, that's how you can participate in these tournaments. We just play 3 rounds, and then at the end of these 10 weeks, we have an end-of-season tournament where competitors can qualify and try to get a playmat or 2. First place gets a custom champion playmat. Second place gets a finalist playmat. So good to have you guys here, and welcome. Especially because we're brand new into Vendetta. So it's just so fun to be able to see ourselves at this point of the game and seeing some brand new brews and some old friends returning here. But I do got to say, that board wipe right there was a very smart move from Kaisa here, being able to get in. But it looks like the Forerunner might be a step in the right direction as we find ourselves, a difficult choice. Vi can be one of our good options here, and it looks like Vi is going to be selected above the signature spell here, getting another unit out on the board. And a Falling Star to be able to blow up Thundersong and get him out of the way. Now, the hard part, the thing that I'm worried about most here is going to be Singularity into Falling Star. Because if you're able to get Falling Star, you're taking out the Forerunner. Or if you do Singularity, then you can take out the Kaisa and the Forerunner. And then you can Falling Star the 2 bots that are created afterwards. But again, with Will Win only having 4 cards in hand, I'm not sure if there is going to be something, except for a Time Warp. Except he doesn't have he does have enough runes, so he is just going to immediately be going into the next turn. So maybe a little bit of or did he just rewind? That's the hard part. I think he might have just rewound there in this case. And so, yeah, it looks like revealing a little bit of his hand, but, you know, we're not so far gone that a rewind is unavailable at that point. So that's good at least. We'll see what else is able to be answered to. And it looks like another double Bellows Breath then to be able to take care of the units there. And I mean, this is where it can become very much a grind, a Coal of the Week, to be able to take out the other unit. And it is just a bloodbath here of continually blowing up each other's units turn after turn. But here's the thing, Kaisa doesn't have a single unit in hand, where I think this is going to be a big difference here, where Rek'Sai is going to be able to continually look at the hand and be able to conquer, play the Rek'Sai ability, dig a little bit deeper, and maybe to continue to get some longevity here of scoring. So this is a difficult situation for Kaisa. Will Win is already down a game. And unless that you have something that can continually blow up these units turn after turn, then Keldor very well might be 2-0ing Will Win here, as he goes up now to 6 points, soon to be 7, and this could be the game. Now we have a Noxus Hopeful that is able to come in. That is going to be at full cost of 4, and then the Vi is going to be moving back. And if there is no answers here, it looks like that is going to be the game, as Will Win is 1 away from being able to even have a playable unit as he reveals his hand. Wow! That was just an incredibly quick 2-0, and I cannot believe how quick that game went. But I mean, when you are spell slinging back and forth so incredibly fast, it happens, and Kaisa has been really struggling these past couple of sets. We've been able to see some runs in the outskirts of like the regional matches and things like that. But otherwise, there hasn't really been a whole lot of great runs that we've been able to see. And so we'll see what else is able to happen, but we are going to be going into another match right off the bat here, guys. We are going to be going back in to a Spartan versus Game Slayer. And so we'll see what is able to be done here as I get this set up. But again, thank you so much for the raid. Really appreciate it. And we'll see what is able to be going. So I'll just quickly get us back over into that game lobby as I'll fix the stuff as we get going. I'd rather you guys watch a game. So with that being said, it looks like we got ourselves a Victor versus Draven. And I mean, this is going to be the thing. Draven has a huge advantage on being able to potentially win a lot of battles back and forth here, which can be a lot of good card advantage that you are able to get. But the thing is, Victor has a lot of card advantage of his own, and then is able to get things going. Game Slayer? I picked the wrong one. And Game Slayer is one who was a part of this in the first season. And the cool part about Game Slayer was he was able to qualify for the top 16 and then brought a Lee Sin and was taking down Dravens and Aurelias with his Lee Sin deck. And it drew a lot of traction there. A lot of people were trying to talk about that. Yes, and the Shin that I published from Houses Are Big, that was his Shin list from 1 week ago. So I still need to look on if it is, but it's the one that he posted on X is the one that I created, because he still has his list on private, so it doesn't auto update, unfortunately. But with that being said, yeah, that is the most recent as to a week ago. So now that we are into this, we are in game number 2 on Rift Atlas. And I mean, this is something really cool too. Rift Atlas is becoming more and more popular, and it is able to communicate rather well without needing to type out as much as you would need to on TCG Arena. And the overlay is just a little bit better. The hard part with the overlay, though, is sometimes that it can be a little bit difficult for us as spectators to tell what cards are what sometimes, especially if you guys are watching from your phones. That can be a big difference maker. But still, I love the interface that TCG Arena has been able to make. But it looks like a Vi is going to be ambushing in, being able to then stun the Tentacle. And so, yep, that's going to be able to kill that Tentacle, and that blade is going to be no more, because the thing is temporary. If it is unattached, then at the start of your upkeep, it will be killed at that point. Which is funny that they do say kill instead of destroy, because it is a gear, so kind of interesting. Does it have a spirit? What is this, like bleach or something? I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea. With that being said, though, this is, I think, going to be a big turn for the Draven here. Spartan is going to need to have to come in and be able to get some answers here when it comes to this board state. Victor is completely tapped out. He has no hidden cards here. So if you are somehow able to take out Vi, Vi is only able to stun when she attacks. That's going to be one of the big things here. So if you're then able to go in and get a good attack here to be able to take this battlefield, then Draven could very well be finding themselves at a great board position. Now, one thing that could be in mind, I mean, gosh, if you had Draven and Ride the Wind would probably be the most optimal thing, and with 5 cards in hand, might not be the answer, and it looks like that isn't going to be the answer at this point, and we are going to be seeing that a Forerunner is going to be coming into this battlefield being played at the Treasure Hoard. And this is funny too, I just realized that we actually have 2 Treasure Hoards that are being played out as option. Oh, that's cool. Thank you, thank you. Good to know that they are coming out with a new overlay. That's really good to know. And this is getting a whole ton of traffic. A lot of people have switched over to Rift Atlas for the layout and communication on things, and so totally love that they've been able to do that, but also they weren't quite prepared for the traffic, and there's some lag and latency issues here, but overall, really love Rift Atlas. And if you guys are new here or you don't know how to play cards online, I have a Rift Atlas video to teach you how to play online, and I also have on the flip side of that how to play on TCG Arena. So if you want to see those videos, look on Silent Night Riftbound on YouTube for those tutorials. Now, with that being said, a Forerunner being on the backfield here, being able to help defend with an overzealous fan there, very easily can turn into another good Conqueror. One thing that I will be watching for, though, is going to be Singularity. Sometimes Victor does run those spells, and you're able to pop 2 big units and then be able to conquer. And I think this might be one of the biggest things that Victor is going to be finding himself in trouble with, where you have the card draw, you have the answers, but if you're unable to deal with a lot of these board states, you're going to be finding yourself in a little bit of trouble here. And so it looks like, whoa, we're going to be finding ourselves moving in with a Spectacles. And that, when equipped, is going to allow it to become a copy of a unit as long as it is attached. So he's going to be able to move in. And this is going to be a copy of the equipped unit, becomes a copy of that unit. Oh, and it has to be a friendly unit. So he can copy the Vi, be able to stun the Forerunner. But then the big thing is the overzealous fan is going to be able to react. So this is going to be interesting. You know what, Keldor? I finally decide to cast your game. And by the time I get set up, you are done with game 1. Okay? And you said you were going to go 0-3 today, and now you are currently 2-0. So don't give me that crap, okay? We're semi-professional on this cast. So with that being said, looks like the Victor is just going to be going absolutely wide here and giving the Draven an opportunity to be able to build up that board state. Now, that was going to be the big thing here, too. It looks like that was just a straight-up trade at that point, as 2 additional mechs were going to be able to get created. And we're still going to be at the point of, oh gosh, I really do like the Shady Spectacles being utilized here, because you're able to make a 1-might unit now another Vi, which is going to be able to stun and maneuver around at that point. So a very good answer here, and some fun, saucy tech that you got to be very mindful of. And so again, going to be curious to see what Draven is going to be able to do. And this is why I love it. Victor is keeping a lot of good decks in check. And you can't count him out. He's got some really good plays that he's able to do. And so even though there are 8 runes for Victor to be able to utilize, whoa, it looks like that Ravenbloom Prefect is going to be coming in, and they're just going to be going as wide as possible and giving Victor the chance to be able to defend here. Now, at the same time, you only have 2 One Might tokens, and you can send both in and be at 5 points. The tricky part is you do not want to be at odd points here. That is not something that you want to be finding yourself in. But unfortunately, it's exactly where we are here. And so, very tricky part then on how Victor can try to deal with this. I'm also very surprised. I mean, you don't have a whole ton of cards in hand by any means, but you still have the ability to be able to get some spells going. Call of the Week is a dead card at this point, thanks to the Tentacle still being up on the side of Draven. But there's a lot of answers that are still to be had. So it looks like the Victor's going to be moving in the 5 mic Vi copy, which is interesting. And then immediately going to be playing out the Ornn in this case. So we're going to be building a little bit of gear. And this is the interesting part, though. I don't know what these deck lists are. I don't know if the Draven is running Thermo Beams. Thank you, Siri. Good playing with ya. Well done, well done. I'll get you dropped here pretty soon. And so we'll see what is able to be done here. But it looks like the Tentacle is going to be moving in. Then on the flip side of that, we have 5 Might that we're going to have to get over. We might be a little bit worried about a Stupefy, but at the same time, this is almost just going to be a sacrifice anyway that you're not going to have to be too worried about. But you're really trying to anticipate then the onslaught that is going to be coming this next turn. So it looks like the Gust Monk is going to be coming in. That's going to be allowing you to pay an additional 1 to banish a card and then add +2. That's probably going to be going to the Kaisa so that you're able to get 2 card draw. 1 for the Draven winning the combat, though it's going down to 5 at that point, as a hard bargain is coming in and saying, nope, sorry, we're going to be good at that point. So the Stupefy is going to be going through. No card draw there at that point. And the hard bargain is going to be an absolutely crucial card there on being able to get that job done. And so that is going to be 2 vital cards being drawn right there. 1 for the Kaisa, 1 for the Draven. And then at the same time, it's like we have a pretty good board state that we are able to utilize here. We don't have too much to have to worry about. We have the Ornn that can be having deflect 2. It's at 8. We have the Vi that could also stun on the attack, but then defending, it's not the most powerful. And so Draven right now is in a really good spot that they're finding themselves in, as another 2 Tentacles are going to be coming out to watch out for those Call of the Weeks to be able to survive and attack with as much might as possible on this following turn. So now we are going to find out what Victor could possibly do to try to defend from the potential onslaught that could be coming. All right, so it looks like the Ornn has been able to move in. The Patch Porobot also moving in. That is going to be adding additional might. Now, the tough part here is if there is any Star-Crossed or anything like that, you're happily playing the double deflect. That's going to be the hardest thing. With Ornn having deflect too, you're okay with the sudden beefed up unit and paying 3 runes to be able to, of power cost, to be able to get rid of it. It's money well spent at that point. And then you're going to be essentially able to conquer both battlefields with relative ease. So we'll see, especially with the gold tokens that you have out on the side of Spartan, if he's going to be able to get that side of the board taken care of. But it looks like that there very well could be some solid answers in response. But it looks like we do have Shadow's Call to try to give a couple more answers as we give temporary, probably to one of the tokens in the back. Yep, exactly. And then drawing 2 cards there. So one of just the best card draw plays for Victor at this point, as they are trying to figure out the way to be able to hold down the fort from the potential attacks that Draven is going to be able to utilize here. And so we'll see what is able to be done here. And a hidden card. So you're essentially assuming that that is going to be a hidden blade at that point. And then on the flip side of that, the Plaza Guardian to hit the board. That's going to be, gosh, how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cost less. So that is going to be a 3 cost drop, as Brittle Steel is going to be coming in to be able to kill a gear. So that Spectacles is going to be stomped on, and you are going to be finding yourself with just a 1 might unit instead. And so we'll see what is able to be done as we go into this next couple of segments here. We might have one of my friends joining to co-cast. And so we'll see what is able to be done here. But so far, the board state is getting a little bit cleared out and a little bit thinned. But this, I didn't think that Victor would be able to necessarily create a wall here. But Gameslayer seems to have figured out a way to be able to do so. So very well done there on being able to get that side of things taken care of. But still, there is a lot to be seen. As a Falling Star is going to be coming in, that's going to be dealing 6 damage. So 6 of 8 damage, probably going to be going on to the Plaza Guardian if I had to pick. And so, yep, the Plaza Guardian is fallen at that point, so we're going to be able to conquer 1 battlefield. And so the game is not over yet. Now, also at the same time, we could even have them just go for a full-on reinforcement here, because I don't think the Ornn is going to have any way to get ganking to be able to get over to the other side. So it might very well be just a full-on stack into the other battlefield. You have an Overzealous Fan, and a Star-Crossed is going to be coming out. That is going to be targeting the targeting the Tentacle and the Ornn would be my guess. And that is going to be a high cost, paying the 2 deflect at that point to be able to get that side of things taken care of. But even with all of that, we are going to be finding ourselves having to take down the final unit. Now, we have more than enough to be able to do so. We have no real surprises, I don't think, that can come out. But it looks like a Stupefy is going to be coming in, so that's going to be potentially a trade. In this case, and so it looks like that is going to be the final point needed for Spartan to be able to take game number 2 versus Game Slayer. Good to see you, Matt. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing too. It looks like that Victor just keeps getting better and better, and I think that's going to be one of the things that is also very encouraging to be able to see as we get further into the set, because Victor now has the card draw under its belt. It has some very powerful units. We got to see the new mech that was able to come out for 8 might. He was able to play it for 3 to be able to help defend, and unfortunately that wasn't enough, but we were still having ourselves in a very good board state when going into this. And so going to be curious to see what else we end up having as we go into this next game. But I'm excited to see what Victor has in this set, especially as we move into regionals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's going to be the interesting thing too, because I don't know if it might lessen any of that, because it's like, well, those who still want to just go for top 64 are going to bring their best deck, in that case. And it's like, we have such a long shot on getting a best of. I'm sure it will deter a few people, but I don't know if it will change a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And it's going to be interesting to see if people are more intimidated by like the first regional, where they're like, yeah, I don't know. And then as we get further into this, they're like, you know what, we're going to bring what we bring anyway, regardless of support there. But I don't know, man, especially with this Kennen versus Aurelia. Looks like they're in game number 2. I'm not sure if they're going to be going into game 3 or if this is another 2-0. Looks like it is another 2-0 at that point, as Aurelia was able to take down Kennen, one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, legends of this set. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see where Aurelia goes. It seems like that she still has a couple of struggles to figure out, some kinks to be able to resolve. But we'll see. And I'm really surprised here, too. We have seen so many Dravens make their appearance in this week 1, too. Uh-huh. Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, especially in our conversations, in our Discord and everything, we've been talking about how long Draven was going to wait till he made his comeback, and it looks like it's in a very good spot. Again, like what you said, never left, and now people are rediscovering. And sad part is, everyone who did hop on the Miracle Draven or just regular Draven is going to be coming back and having some great answers. But Angler Beast, surprisingly, having a great utility right here, being able to get rid of all units with 2 might or less. And yeah. Oh, whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the hardest part. If you give Ezreal the Brady King, thank you. So if you're able to give the Ezreal competitor enough time to be able to set up his board state, you're going to be finding yourself in a very difficult predicament there. And this is exactly why. I mean, we see ourselves with Duck Murderer being able to set up his board state, and it doesn't matter. He's given the Ezreal too much time, and now he's going to be able to not only build up a very dangerous board state, but also be able to answer whatever. I mean, 1 card a turn at this point, and it's just going to be a brittle steal. So that is going to be essentially a GG, even though Duck Murderer was so close to being able to secure that game. I want to know. There's a story behind that. You know there is. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it looks like, yeah, that is going to be the end of round number 2. So a really good showing, and you get to see that Ezreal is one of the most surprising comebacks that we've been able to see here. It was one that I didn't necessarily fully anticipate, and then it's all of a sudden just back, and it's Pack of Wonders for the win. And I gotta say, I am a pretty big fan at how this Ezreal deck is functioning so far. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree with you there. And then, yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. And I think this meta still is in a path of discovery, and we got some really fun options here. And with that being said, we're going into our final round of the night where we have a couple of undefeated so far. We have 4 undefeated. And of course, you are playing for points each and every week. So those who are going to be ending in first will be getting the most amount of points and added to the leaderboard at that point. So this is going to be a big deal here on what's going to be happening. We have Keldor and Vansul Am and Swifty and J-Chan. And J-Chan, no surprise, they're very, very good competitor that has been known to be very powerful in the online scene. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm sold. Yep. I'm done. I'm done. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of the level of depth. There are certain quirks about it that kind of annoy me, but like in terms of like the battlefields, the effects, the legends, and the general strategy between it's not just playing units, it's also your mobility, how you're holding, how you're attacking and defending.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that goes, and your power costs and stuff. There's so many elements they've taken from multiple card games, welded together, and added their own flavors to it. And it's just like, could we have had this instead of the first card game,
Mm-hmm.
whose name is actually eluding me right this moment, which is crazy because I played a
Runeterra
ton of that as well.
or
Runeterra, yeah. It's
yeah.
like just give us this.
So yeah, I played a ton of Runeterra back in the day.
Yeah, I hit master tier twice before I stopped sort of playing it. I think the last time I was playing a deep deck was during the Bilgewater thing. I got one during the season 1 and then Bilgewater, and we're gonna be seeing Victor versus Rek'Sai, which I think Rek'Sai is technically favored in this matchup due to the fact that it plays a bunch of cards for free.
Yeah.
But again, Victor is able to score 2 points a turn, especially with additions like Sprite Fountain. Just so good. Like Sprite Fountain is just such a ridiculous card. I'm surprised it got printed. And it wasn't a rare. That was the craziest part.
No, not wrong there. And I think that it's so interesting that Rek'Sai is, again, it's kind of done the Victor treatment where it's had a hard time the first couple of sets, and now it's really been able to find its legs and really prove that it is
Oh my
something to be watched
god.
out with. And I mean, gosh, look at that kind of find right there.
Let's just go to the casino and put it on black. We get an Under Titan, which just opens up so much. We got a Ferris Forerunner. We can just throw that down from our hand here. We choose not to, but it's just like when you hit the Under Titans from your Legend ability, or even when you're using the Void Rush, it can be so broken. I was playing against a guy on TC Arena who managed to find all 3 Colder Weeks, and I'm just like, oh, this deck. It's like, because there's a universe where that doesn't happen, but with Rek'Sai, it can, and you can just literally dominate some games by virtue that your Legend gives you 3 cards.
Yeah. No, and that's, I think, is going to be one of the hardest things is, and like what we were talking about last time we were watching Keldor last round, was that you have the mobility there, that you're able to, even filter through the cards that you don't necessarily need right now. It's like, hey, I look at the top 2. All right, neither of these are even relevant right now. Let me just play one because I can and put the other on the bottom, and it just gives you so much more options to be able to utilize there. So I love what Rek'Sai is able to do. And yeah, it can be, I've played against them in skirmishes, and it can be a very difficult matchup there, but it looks like a Bellows Breath could be coming in to help clear out a couple of units.
Yeah, it's just, we still need some sort of follow-up. We could have, now we're starting a combat, the Noxus Hopeful is going to heal. It's just, yeah, okay, we've got the Colder Week. We are going quite dangerously low on runes, and our Rek'Sai player still has their Chosen Champion and a whole mitt of cards. So if we can pressure our rune economy here and not lose out to too many of our opponent's cards, because we're Rek'Sai, we do get to play Ferris Forerunner, which is actually the bane of Victor's existence. I think one of the reasons Victor did not do very well was in the Unleashed. Was it Unleashed? No, it was the format before,
Yeah.
Spirit Forge, where the most played card was Ferris Forerunner. The second most played card was Rebuke to get rid of Ferris Forerunner.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, Victor does not like that card. And Rek'Sai gets to very consistently play multiple copies of it.
Yep, and so, gosh, it's going to be so interesting.
Power trigger.
And we get to see that the Rek'Sai is going to be able to accelerate out the Inferna here because it was played from somewhere other than his hand. So a very, very well played double conquer there from Keldor. And Swifty looks like that he's going to have a little bit of work to do, though he is only a point behind. And being able to find a Xin Zhao to be able to answer that is a great answer.
Yeah, Xin Zhao was actually one of my favorite cards when I was originally looking at the list for Spirit Forged, and I think he was criminally underrepresented in most formats. Xin Zhao is just such a ridiculous card for free energy, even though it costs a power, but it requires a go wide deck, and we've been mostly locked into Chaos variant decks at the moment and not playing enough of it, but Xin Zhao is very good. Specifically for reasons like that, it's just like, oh yeah, cool, he just comes in ready and does something with my team, and it has tank, which you can never underestimate.
Well, and it's so funny when you have those units that are popular enough but not popular enough to remember that they have things like tank. It was something that we saw with Yordle, lecturing Yordle, and like they have tank, and you're just like, oh wait, the unit that I thought was going to get killed actually is going to be surviving, and the much more powerful or much more vital unit is going to still be in the board state in the game, and that can be such a difference maker. Also, one of my most favorite cards that Victor is playing a lot of, Noxian Emissary. Being able to empower it to be able to, when it dies, you play 2 1 might recruit tokens. Such a powerful answer there.
Oh, this is really funny because I don't actually like the Noxian Emissary.
Wow.
Even in Ambissa, where it's like the Empower deck, I think the power cost on the ability, outside of playing on the battlefield, I'm just trying to remember its name, the Altar, that reduces in power costs, I think is very expensive for those 2 tokens, when you could be playing the Carrion Dredger, which we can see on the flip side, which always gives us a token with 0 power cost. We do get the additional might, but I think the effect is very expensive. I can see why Victor's doing it. Obviously, we've got Colder Weeks, we're playing Shadow's cool, we can Hidden Blade it, and we're going to get a lot of value out of it, but it just drains our rune economy, which is so important in this game. Is sort of, how many runes do I have versus how many runes my opponent has, and if I've spent power, have I gained critical advantage? And if the answer is no, you probably shouldn't be playing that card. Or you got blown out by something. For example, we played Punch First and Mel went ahead and just played her signature spell, which she shouldn't be having. But, this is where we live in. Yeah, here we go. Cold Week is
Well,
going to eat one of those. Oh, it's both of them. And look,
both
we
of
didn't even
them.
get a chance to empower them because the empower cost was so expensive. So we just spent 4 energy on units that didn't really do anything. And even if they died and made 2 tokens, I think Rek'Sai runs over them almost 100%. I'm just not a fan of the Noxian Emissary.
Yeah, I mean, it can be really good to be able to have those units that are able to respond, or, and you're able to create. In this case, if they were empowered, you would have had 4 units, and then being able to run like Imperial Decree or something along those lines can be a really great response for that on trying to get a double conquer back. But even still, yeah, sometimes Rek'Sai is just going to be able to run the house and say, I'm in control here, and the queen is the queen for a reason.
Yeah, I think Rek'Sai is a nightmare matchup for Victor. Like, if you're in a tournament, it's one of those off-meta decks that you just pray you don't run into, because I think it's just so unfavored with how much aggression and rule stats that Rek'Sai gets to play. It almost certainly will run over your units because that's just what it does, and then it plays cards for free. So you don't ever run them out, which is kind of the whole point of the prison deck, is to just keep killing your opponent's units and scoring with 1 might units until your opponent can't do anything anymore.
Yep.
Rek'Sai plays fast. It plays lots of units, and it plays first Forerunner. It's just like, as Victor, I don't want to play Rek'Sai. In fact, if Rek'Sai was the main deck, I wouldn't play Victor. And I love Victor. I think Victor is a great deck. But it is a tough match.
It is. And that's the sad part, too, because, like, the only signed card that I've pulled in all the packs that I've opened is a Victor. And I am going to be taking him to a Nexus night, but, man, lately, I've been wanting to play a bit more of Rek'Sai just with the abilities that it has and the versatility. It can be such a difficult deck to contend against, and then even more so, if you lose the die roll against a Rek'Sai, it's tough. And you're going to be seeing it go so far ahead. It gets a 2-drop more often than not because half its deck is a 2-drop. And then you're just going to be able to immediately utilize the legend ability itself to look at the next 2. So you're always going to be in a good spot here.
Yeah, the one saving grace against Rek'Sais that go first is that a lot of the time their most powerful unit they can get off a Rek'Sai trigger is in the early game is going to be Noxus Hopeful. And what it does is it forces them to play a 2-cost unit before they conquer, which can shut down some of their options from the Rek'Sai trigger. But like, it's a bit of a pain when they go, they play their 2 energy unit, then before they attack, they play a 2 energy unit, move in, play Noxus Hopeful off the top, and you're like, well, I'm so far behind now. That is disgusting. But, if they pay 4 energy for a Noxus Hopeful off the top, it's like, we don't worry about that. But Rek'Sai doesn't have to do that, but it means if you want to go for the gamble, that adds some element of risk. There's a lot of strategy into what you should and shouldn't do with Rek'Sai before you conquer, when you hold, when you retreat. There's a lot of depth that never really got explored because of just how absurdly powerful Miracle Draven and various Miracle decks were. And I think Rek'Sai was critically underexplored in these formats. It's such a good deck.
Well, and that's, I think, one of the hard parts about the game, too, is that we find ourselves at points where 3 months can feel like a long time in a set. But then on the flip side of that, too, it's like we are finding ourselves at a very unique situation, too, where it's like some decks just can't be explored. I really think that Renekton of Vendetta is going to be one of those as well to be watching out for, because it's going to be such a complicated deck to try to figure out in such a small time.
I have spent, actually, because for my next YouTube video, I really want to do a Renekton deck guide, and I've spent about 2 weeks on it, and I'm so close to being there, but I'm like, this feels like the weakest deck of Legend of Vendetta. I've not found like a reason that it's to play it over any other legend, other than the fact that Renekton is very cool, and it does have a win condition of playing the Thundersong, Brenhir Thundersong, and then also playing Dominus to run over both battlefields where your opponent can't play any cards. But it's like, that's so expensive, and it's just trying to find, do I get value basically playing bigger units early when our opponent plays a lot of Starcross? And I think that's Renekton's problem, but it is the coolest deck. It's one of the coolest ones, and it's one I've spent a lot of time on. In fact, Renekton's going to be the video after the next one I'm going to publish, which I switched over to Ambessa because I think Ambessa is insane right now and has the biggest potential for after the format settles, to be one of the top contending decks. I think the first tournament is going to be pretty hard for it, but I think Ambessa then has such specialized tools for dealing with the top deck, whatever it ultimately ends up deciding to be, that she'll be a strong contender. But yeah, Renekton is one that I think is very, very fun, and there's lots of different directions. It's just the main reason to play Renekton isn't good in a format where there's a lot of Starcross. In multiplayer, it's disgusting because you just get to play units much faster than your opponents, and they've got other stuff to worry about than what Renekton is doing. But it is a little bit tough to play Renekton right now, but it's not unviable. It's just the brew is still taking time to settle, and that's one of the challenges I'm having.
Yeah, well, and that's going to be one of the hardest things to figure out, too. But that's one of the most exciting parts about the game. And, I mean, right now, we're just going to be seeing a back and forth here. First off, Candlelit Sanctum being able to be utilized here by the Rek'Sai, and then being able to find a double Under Titan. What is this?
Oh, my God. We've got the elusive 13 energy. If only we can spend it right now. But that is so disgusting. And it's just like, oh, yeah, Rek'Sai, sometimes it just happens for you. And, like, that's the thing. If you set yourself up where those turns matter, we might end up burning a bunch of energy here, which would be a crying shame for what's just happened. Because we've also managed to shove one of those Under Titans that we were never going to play to the bottom of the deck. We just got to play it for 1 energy and leave up 7. This is just so good. Candlelit Sanctum is just disgusting. It's Rek'Sai's best battlefield. I think the only concern is that Kennen and also Zed to some degree is very heavily playing Candlelit Sanctum is one of their stronger battlefields. And I don't like playing battlefields that top tier decks excel on. It's like playing Windswept Hillock in a format where LeBlanc was very big. It's just like you're putting yourself at such a strategic disadvantage for doing so. But yeah, if we leave this energy open, I'm going to feel so sad for Rek'Sai.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh my God.
Well, we might even have responses though, actions or reactions that are able to be used, because we also saw the Void Rush that was being used too, and interesting that we see a Jace coming in that is then able to play out a lot of
Vanguard Armory.
Yeah, Vanguard Armory to add 3 units when it taps, and a Shadow's Call. This is gonna be interesting. A game 2, and Victor has set up the board state. And even though it's a lot of one mites, there's a lot that it can use to be able to take down this board.
Yeah, we're actually in a really good spot to get this Vanguard Armory down. Jace is just so good for that. Is if we can sneak a Vanguard Armory in early enough to matter, which is basically any time before our opponent hits 6 points, we can get so many tokens out, which then means we can just call the weak to will. We've got targets for Shadow Call all the time. We've got a double conquer each turn. Our Imperial Decree will pretty much always rinse everything. And also what I really like about this Victor deck is we've seen that it's very power hungry, but cards like Jace effectively let us cheat the Vanguard Armory in. So even though we're falling behind on Rune Economy, we can still actually play it. Did we just Falling Star the Vanguard Armory? I was about to say, Falling Star is not that good a card.
Could you imagine? Yeah, I'll do 6 damage to your armory. Right, yeah, it's gone.
It also kills a gear as well. Not only was it like one of the format defining cards of Origins, it also kills gear. We just decided right after it.
So, but I mean, taking out the Jace is going to be a step in the right direction. I feel like we still have to watch out for the Imperial Decree here, or even like the Grand Stratagem that could be coming in. And it looks like it is instead going to be a Thousand Tail Watcher. Now that's going to be bringing something down to 1 and 3, and the 1,000 is going to be immediately attacking in to try to take care of this. But runes are being tapped, and it looks like a Vi is going to be ambushing in. Not going to be able to do a stun here, but still going to be adding a fresh 5 to a tapped out Victor.
There we are. We do get the Under Titan value that we get to play around. We get to basically engage with a Watcher, because we can clear out both those units and then just trade a 1/1. I don't necessarily think this Vi is good unless we've got something else to play. Like a Longsword here would be okay, but yeah, it's just we've got enough tokens where doing this. I'm not sure what the might of Under Titan should have been there, because I thought you could have killed the Under Titan and the Noxus Hopeful. And the Vi. But yeah, do we want to trade 5 tokens to kill a Vi here? Probably not.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're getting to the cusp of this end game here, and so it looks like it is going to be coming down to, what a Rek'Sai is going to be able to do to conquer this battlefield here. A salvage is going to be coming into stopping the armory. It's already done its job, though, but that +1 card draw can still be very helpful.
the card draw is super relevant here. So the Victor's nightmare position that it puts most players in is that we get ourselves to 6 points and then we just threaten to Imperial Decree and win with an overwhelming number of tokens. And we've exactly accomplished that because we can't win and it's so hard to hold against a Victor at 6 points because you've got Thousand Tail Watcher, you've got Belly's Breath with Imperial Decree. And this is generally where you kind of want cards like Sabotage, which we can't play in these colors. It's tough. Victor at 6 points is when you are not threatening to go to 8 that turn is very difficult to win the game. But Rek'Sai could do it. We've had, Call of the Week's doing nothing and Blood Rush is doing nothing. So both of those are going to go to the bottom of the deck. There's no way we play either of those.
Yeah, but I still think that we are in a good position. We can still pull the vibe back, but it looks like we are going to be going for the double defense here. You are going to be getting some birds if they are able to match this, but even still, it's a very tough set, and I'm surprised we aren't gonna pull the vibe back, and there's the Imperial Decree, so any damage is gonna be enough to kill units. And so one at a time we go to be able to dish out this damage here.
We can't win the game this turn with what we currently have, and then this is going to give us 2 bird tokens to counter try and win the game with, unless our opponent has something else to follow up on. We can basically just trade out and score 1 point. We don't have Accelerate with 2 energy. This is a tough spot because these birds also have Deflect. So if you want to Bellows them, you're going to rinse all your runes. And then Rek'Sai is known to play fast units. We can go for the Candlelit, but we're probably not getting a turn. So we need to stop these birds. Sprite Fountain. Yeah, we can find it. We do find it exactly. But yeah, Victor at 6 points is very hard to defend against. And even then, I think that was an excellent setup by Rek'Sai to play into it. But our opponent literally just happened to have a card I completely forgot about, even though I was just literally blowing smoke up it moments ago. Sprite Fountain.
Yeah, and that's going to be the versatility there, being able to still deal with that board state, creating all those units. I do still feel like it is a little bit of a risk trying to do the Jace Armory combo there, because it can be so difficult for Victor to be able to set up. But even still, you were able to see what 2 rounds of Armory was able to do at that point to be able to set up that amount of tokens to be able to get the Imperial Decree and ultimately win that game. It's going into game 3, though. We got the Rek'Sai that is able to go so aggressive and is going to be going first. And if we get a 2-drop, it's going to be very interesting to see what Victor can do against this. Call of the Week? Or
We're on Sanctum, and we also have Hall of Legends. Hall of Legends is also disgusting because it then gives Rek'Sai the double conquer opportunity, but it does cost a little bit of energy if you want to play multiple cards, but it means we get through our deck very quick. I would, if I was a betting man, I'm going to put money on Rek'Sai here. It doesn't mean that it's 100%, but I think this is just so heavily Rek'Sai focused. I'm going to be very impressed with... I'm trying to read the name, but there's currently a bunch of stuff. Oh, yeah, we just find Under Titan, and we can go up to 6 runes on this turn. To Swifty, if they can win. Oh, we can open with a Falling Star.
And it does feel like that might be a little bit of a setback on the rune count. It's something I might be a little bit worried about, but even still, that kind of momentum shift can be a big shift for you there. But you got to be so careful because now that you're going to be essentially a turn and a half behind on the rune count here, it can still give Victor a chance to go super wide again. And for what? You're going to be at 3-0 at this point. So you got to be so careful at how you sacrifice your runes here. And if we had another Falling Star at this point, it's like, well, we can't necessarily play it, but also Call of the Week is now kind of pointless here. But we'll see what Rek'Sai is able to casino here, and it is going to be a Blood Rush and Call, which are probably just going to go right to the bottom.
Yeah, those are getting thrown straight over. But the good news is we don't have to draw either of those cards. And having the spare point, a lot of people kind of say you never want to be on odds. They see it as a disadvantage. It's actually not always necessarily a bad thing. If you can pick up stray points, it means that when your opponent has a powerful hold, you don't later in the game, you don't necessarily have to overcommit into it. And that's kind of like, okay, we ideally don't want to be on odds, but it's not quite a death sentence here. And especially since we just got to shift 2 cards away that we never want to play in this situation. I think that was a very successful odd point for Rek'Sai for the opportunity cost, because we could have just revealed a Noxus Hopeful or something like that, and then very easily been so far ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, now that we're going to start seeing what this Victor's able to do, he has a good, I don't know. He has a couple of units that are out onto a battlefield, but the big thing here is he's going to have to continue to be able to sustain his board. And we saw when he was able to do that with Armory, it was a very positive game for him to be able to answer what Rek'Sai was able to get. But here's the thing. Rek'Sai has so many more units that it doesn't need to sacrifice against a lot of these Victor units here. They're all going to be 1 or 2 might, and you have to worry about maybe a spell or 2.
Like, in this situation, you say, hey, Bellows could be good because it kills a Poro, an Engineer, and a Token. Our opponent still retains 2 units in that situation. And it's like, well, we can't do anything to the carrion. We can't target the bird because we're going to start blowing up our rune economy. And yeah, we get another attack with the Poro, and we also get to use the Manufacturer to run over. I'd have liked to have done the attack in the opposite order. I'd have liked to have sent the Poro over the Hall of Legends so we can use our Rek'Sai, then ready it if we decide not to play. But I guess you can still line it up this way. So we get to go Candlelit, look at the next 2. Then when you go play a card, Ferris Forerunner, we're probably 100% playing 1. Yeah.
But
happy to play that straight on the battlefield, right? Because if our opponent... it's the only worry is that our opponent can accelerate Thousand-Tail Watcher here.
And it looks like Keldor is having a hard time committing to that there, and I definitely don't blame them at that point.
No, 100%. I think that's a tough call because if our opponent does have the Thousand-Tail Watcher and we've got no way of protecting it, if we had a Hidden Blade, I'd be quite happy to play the Ferris Forerunner onto a battlefield. But I think what we've just telegraphed is that we've got no way of protecting it from a Watcher. Having it in base is just a lot more valuable here. And we've just flooded a bunch of stats onto the board. No, we've just changed our mind. Because we have to play the Ferris Forerunner, we have to actually pay the energy cost for it. It doesn't. We don't get it for free. Rek'Sai is not that good.
And so with that, Keldor looks like he is going to be typing to potentially rectify something. Sorry, chat, forgot to pay for runner. Oh, okay. So he did in that case. So, that's going to be a game 1 loss. And no, he's
yeah, good. I mean, how up in arms with the community about the player who did not pay their power cost on their showstoppers before we even had real regionals, and then it's like, Ferris Forerunner, we're gonna just play it for free.
Yep, and so
yeah, Xing Zhao is gonna get easily run over unless we put 2 more units on. But then I think if we could argue putting 2 units on to make the Ferris Forerunner trade out is pretty good, but it's at the same time, it's like our opponent could draw any number of things like Cleave, which then just immediately burns through a ton of our units. So it's, again, you're kind of playing a bit of poker here. It's like, what has our opponent done? And what they've not done is probably given away more information about how you should set this turn up. Because we've just accepted here that in almost every case, we're going to lose this Xing Zhao onto the most important battlefield of this fight, which is going to be the Candlelit Sanctum.
Yep, and it looks like with that pass, though, still 5 runes up, so you could be maybe a little bit worried about Stupefies, Wages of Pain, or things like that, but all 5 are going to be tapped for a Vi to be coming in while defending again. This is something that, you don't get to use that kind of ability there. I don't know,
yeah,
but...
I don't like this. Yeah, but exactly that.
And
Blood
here
Rush
comes
just
the Blood
double
Rush.
kills and eats all of our opponent's runes. That's so good for Rek'Sai.
And that could be a game-deciding loss right there. Now we get to go into another Candlelit and Rek'Sai combo piece. You get to look at the top 2 cards, decide if they want to be there, and then reveal the next 2 and play 1. It's like, oh my god!
Void Rush, sure. I'll take one of those.
Yeah.
I think I like drawing 2 cards here. That seems pretty good. Oh my god, the casino is open.
Okay, yeah, sure. There's a Daring Poro and another Daring Poro.
Sure, yeah, we just get to, and we can play that Daring Poro as well. Like, what interaction do you really need to hold up against Victor here? Unless we just got something that has free energy. Yeah, I was just gonna say, because we're gonna get 2 units off of this Forerunner. Our opponent can't leave us with the Forerunner. There's no way a Victor player is going to be able to hold this other battlefield. And if we bring out Thousand-Tail Watcher, we could Thousand-Tail Watcher Bellows, but then our opponent still has enough stuff to win the game afterwards. If we accelerate the Watcher, we can't Bellows. So it's not a great position for Victor, but we could go Imperial Decree and Bellows. That would probably
Hmm.
be the best thing. But then, even then, Ferris Fora gives us units, and so does Karen Dredger. So it's a tough spot. I'm trying to think of how Victor can get through here, Silent, and
I'm not seeing it.
I don't love the position. Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that the usual things that Victor does don't seem so oppressive here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And Kilder's doing a good job playing because you sometimes have to try to anticipate also like the unchecked powers and units like that. And it's like, no, look, we're far ahead. Yes, the points are reflecting a 6-5 close game, but when you take a look at the actual board state, the victors had to play so reactive here that it's unable to actually get ahead. And unfortunately, I feel like that Vi was played even a little bit out of desperation. You could have
Yeah.
saved it for a turn and played it in with the Dredger into the Candlelit Sanctum, and taking care of the units that way. But even then, it just feels like you're still playing from behind here.
Yeah, I think the Vi in that situation was just hoping for the best, but it telegraphs the rest of the hand can't contest. And the craziest thing about the scoring system in Riftbound is that the difference between 5 and 6 is almost is considerably bigger than the distance between 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just I can't win the game versus okay, I need a double conquer or a hold. It's just like there's such a vast difference versus being on 6 points. 6 points is such a danger zone because it means that your opponent can all in push and take both sides. Whereas 5 means unless they're playing something that has a score cheat like Lucian Combo with Sky Splitter and Trinity Force or Nasus from the new set, they're not winning from 5. It's
Mm-hmm.
not or Time Warp. Even if they have Time Warp, they can score Time Warp and then go up. But it's unusual to win from 5,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not Time Warping as Rek'Sai. I mean, I'd like
Nope.
to, but we can't.
One day maybe. But that's the thing, and I think that even with this kind of board state, I don't know if there is going to be any response. I love what the Victor is able to do here, but man, it's like the falling stars, the call the weeks that Rek'Sai is able to use to deal with board states, the damage that it's able to dish out. Yes, you do get like Thousand Tail into Bellows Breath and some stuff like that. You might be running some Singularity, you might be running some unchecked power, but you're still finding yourself not necessarily able to get over a lot of the threats that just such an aggressive deck is able to do turn after turn. And so it's been a great match to be able to see. We're seeing another Sprite Fountain coming out for an additional 3, but it might not be enough because, I mean, that's just going to add, again, more units. You kill 1, 2 more appear.
Yeah, it's tough for Victor, but I can definitely see Victor being quite good in a bunch of this format situation. Like Xingjiao contests all of the tentacles that we're seeing a lot of the early game. Things like Karen Dredger means that it's hard for Kennen decks to just keep playing. Well, they don't really want to play Cold a Week against a Victor deck anyway. Sprite Fountain gives us a lot of quick interaction. We've got Thousand Tail Watcher, we've got Bellows Breath. We've got a lot of the tools to do really well in this format. It's just Rek'Sai is one of those off meta decks. It just kind of directly counters what you're trying to do. Um, and any deck that has really good death nails is just generally not great for Victor. So even like LeBlanc is
Mm-hmm.
a tough match for them to play into because it's like, oh cool, you kill my guy. I trigger it a bunch of times because I have Karthus, and here is my ruined Rex. Good luck trying to win the game now. But yeah, okay, we go for a full hold, and we've got 2 runes open, so and only 2 cards in hand. We'll see what happens, but I'm pretty sure unless something crazy happens. Oh yeah, of course we can just accelerate those tokens that we just played from not our hand.
Yep, and that's going to be one of the best things about the Rek'Sai, and it looks like it's going to be a full commitment. We only have 2 runes up, 2 cards on the Victor side, so there's not going to be a whole lot of things to necessarily be too worried about.
There is one reason to have not done it this way, and that's if our opponent is playing siphoning their signature card. No Victor player in the history of competitive play has really considered that card, but if we did our attacks slower, our opponent would not get the whole boost rinsing our entire board here. So that was a lose condition, but it's a very unlikely one. So I can understand why we didn't take that into consideration.
No one even remembers what the signature spell does, but it looks like 2 are going to be tapped, and it's Divine Judgment?
Yeah, that's just like I can see. But yeah, no, the signature spell, it's siphoning power. It's all units your opponent control get -1, all of your units get +1. So in this situation, it would have, I think it's to a minimum of 1 because it's one of those older cards. It would have been a big swing of might. on that situation. But again, it's because most people usually only push in with 1 or 2 units. Like we just never really got any value out of
Mm.
siphoning power. But
Yeah.
oh, there's a Runation at the very last card of the deck. That would have been helpful.
That would have been.
But with our 8 runes, we definitely would have liked to have played that. But very very well played. I just think that was it was a good. He fought the good fight, but I just think Rek'Sai is just a miserable matchup for Victor in general. But it's not
Yeah.
a common one, so
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And Keldor, being brand new to this league, has been able to go 3-0 on his first night here, playing Rek'Sai. So very well done there from Keldor, and great job from all the competitors here so far. And again, thank you, Matt, for being here. But it looks like that is going to be it for our tournaments these days. We are going to be saying goodbye for now. But thank you so much, Matt, for being here.
No, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on short notice. I just saw you and was like, hey, that man needs a spot, so I'll come in. But it's been a ton of fun. I love looking at the new Vendetta format and just brainstorming, going crazy about that. I still think there is so much depth to the format, and we're only really just starting to scratch the surface. Even though it looks like we're all like, hey, Kennen is the best deck. Diana's still good. We've just seen like Rek'Sai is still very good. There's so many legends in the format right now. That it's too hard to kind of call what the best deck is, and we're arguing about it even in our private chat. So I'm really
Yeah.
happy to cast any chance that I get these tournaments.
Well, and that's the thing. And one thing that I absolutely love about starting this league up right at the start of a brand new set is that we get to discover this format. And there's a lot of people figuring out still where things even end up landing and what has that ability to push this game to that next level, to be that S tier style deck. And that's the hard part too, though, is because when all is said and done, what can be the big difference, though, is not necessarily the power of your deck, but your ability to pilot it. And that is where skill, I think, in this game just carries you so much further than I'm playing the best deck in the format, so I'm just going to win.
Yeah, if you think skill isn't a relevant factor in Riftbound, you would wonder why Alans is almost always in the top 8, or why we see so much consistency with players like Colin on their set. No one played set because it was just like impossible to win a best of because Colin was the best set player. And that comes down to understanding the deck, understanding the game. There is so much depth to the game that you really have to take the time to study, because every deck is addressing the micro and macro questions in a very different way, and it takes a lot of time to learn that. And Alan's, what is it? He won pretty much all of the best of Ezreal's in Spiritforge format, and it's like, oh, you could just copy his deck. It's right there on the internet. But nobody else saw the same success with it. So it tells you how much a skill expression is in Riftbound.
Yeah, and you also see why Alan wants to stick so much to the blue and purple, because it's like, okay, I just have to now learn a new legend ability. I have to learn a couple of new cards, but I still know the ins and outs of it. I still know the format relatively well. And so that's a huge advantage. And that's also why I love also seeing the train of thought. I read a comment and then I lost my train of thought. But no, that's why I really love to see, and why I recommend to so many players to stick with a deck, because you can pick a certain legend and you're going to be losing your first couple of Nexus nights or whatever. And it's like, okay, I'm done. But then when you're actually finally able to learn the ins and outs and the gameplay of your deck, it can be such a big difference, and you can outclass players that are playing better decks because you know your deck better than they know theirs.
And how long did we laugh at all the Ivern players? And now, like, Ivern is actually a really solid deck.
Yes.
Especially now that they have the cat that can go, oh, I know all the cards that make my deck not work. I'm just going to name that card and you can't play it.
Yep.
And it's a cat. It's like, oh, Ivern's very good now, actually. It's obnoxious, and it takes away our opponent's battlefield advantage as well, because we just give them a crummy battlefield and we turn their positive one into a brush.
Yep.
Like, it's a really good deck right now. I think Ivern is worth exploring for a lot of players.
Yeah, it got that boost. And so with that being said, guys, there is so much to be explored with this format, and hopefully you guys are having a great time learning what Vendetta has to offer. Now, with that being said, we are going to call this stream a close. But if you guys want to be a part of Champions of the Rift, this is a weekly tournament that we play every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, and it's free for you guys to be able to play. You can go and join the Discord down below and get the Champions of the Rift role, and we post the sign-up link every Monday, and then you just have to remember to check in. With that being said, though, guys, at the end of the season, we have an end-of-season tournament for the top 16 to qualify, where you get a first and second place playmat that can be yours. So a lot of fun to be had there. And thank you guys so much for being here tonight. And thank you so much for the raids from Froden, from everyone who has been able to be there for tonight. Looking forward to seeing you guys next time. But I am Silent Knight, joined here with Matt. And that's it for now. Have a good one.
Take care, guys.